if you spend this much time with the far right, you're gonna have some brain worms.
Oh, I mean, this.
Oh my God, chat! There's like more than we know.
Just something to make yum in my head right now. But for all
oh
I know,
my God,
is blackmailing you with, and so you have to, and so you have to interact with them, right? Like you have to, like there's nothing like and.
Wait, what?
And I mean, even today,
what did she
we
just say?
found out that a lot of the reasons why.
No, I misheard that. I misheard that. I must have. The debate bros who basically controlled the platform for a really long time and hurt a lot of us, and you've got a trans streamer who's, you know, taking them on. That seems like something I should be covering, so that's why I'm covering this. That is why I'm covering this. And it's interesting. It's interesting. There's some familiar faces, right? We remember Aristocracy from the what was it, the Ethno State anime girl or something like that, the Bad Empanada video about aristocracy. I don't know, I feel exceptionally chill right now considering the content that we're about to cover, which is pretty, I don't know, it's high school drama, really, right? I don't know, there's something really disingenuous about like Stardust pretending to feel victimized by Keffals dipping out of the Hippy Dippy, right? It seems like it was played for drama. It seems like a lot of this stuff is being played for drama, so I don't really blame Keffals for not being a fan of these debate bros trying to just turn everything that she does into content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what's been going on, what Keffals said in terms of the debate bros. Keffals' VOD is down. Keffals talked about this a little bit today. I think the fact that Keffals' VOD is down means that Keffals probably doesn't want people covering that particular thing, so I'm gonna stay away from that. Oh my God, we got cow emotes. What's up, Goatsmith? What is up? What is going on? Okay, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about Aristocracy and Stardust. Those are gonna be the main two characters, since I guess Aristocracy decided to have Stardust on to maybe talk, I'm assuming to talk shit about Keffals, right? We'll see what happens. We haven't watched Aristocracy in a while, since like probably the Bad Empanada, and even then we were getting it through the lens of Bad Empanada, but so there we are. Yeah, we're in Minecraft. We're in Minecraftia. This is the only place I feel truly at home. This isn't this beautiful? Yeah. We're in a cherry blossom forest in Minecraftia. We've got the lake to our backside. We've got Waluigi with us, and we're gonna be diving in. So yeah, what have I got in store for you tonight? We're gonna look at Keffals' Twitter. We're gonna look at what's been going on lately between Bad Empanada and Eris, and apparently there has been some fighting, although it hasn't maybe resulted in videos. I don't think, at least. I don't think there's been any Bad Empanada Eris videos. It does seem, though, like something has been happening in like YouTube comments, so that should be interesting. I think what it is Bad Empanada added Eris a few times, and Eris called that harassment. Yeah. The person who brigaded me is talking about Bad Empanada harassing her by using the @ function of YouTube, right? And it's calling that like ban evasion for whatever reason. Anyway, let's go into not Amogus Keffals. I don't even know what that one is. There's so many weird like accounts that are called something or other Keffals. Some of them are like just Keffals fans. Others of them are definitely haters. I'm not sure which that one was. When I engage with a content creator who doesn't like me, and their replies are filled with people making 41 jokes, misgendering, mocking me for being trans, every trans person is aware of it. It doesn't even take an ounce of integrity to tell your audience it's wrong. Oh God, and here comes Augie. So Augie made a video about Keffals way back in the day. Keffals is a deranged narcissist asshole. Okay. And I have a feeling in a year or two, all of Twitch political streamers who tried to cooperate with her on panels and such will hate her due to how insanely difficult she must be to work with. And then somebody's, oh, so this is somebody in, okay, so this is, she's talking about Augie. Augie's replies are misgendering. Yeah, they're insistent on, there's, you know, they want to misgender. I do not trust any streamer regardless who they are if they stream on Cozy. That is not a bad policy to have. The site run by white nationalist Nick Fuentes. Wait, how many Twitch streamers actually are on Cozy now, right? Because, like, I mean, there's like some of them have been talking about just changing over to Cozy, but you know, they could always like start an account. Like some of them could have started accounts already. For all I know, Stardust and Sansoy already have. We created a bot to ban anyone who follows debate streamers. 35,000 people got hit. So this is the purge. People have been talking about the purge. So if you want back in, do an unban request. Keffals Court Jester will decide your fate tomorrow. Okay, so here's the one. Yeah, I liked this. Oh wait, this is President Sunday's thumbnail of Keffals. Yeah. If you are finding yourself banned from Keffals chat, it might be worth. I'm not sure who you contact, right? But I'm pretty sure that what Keffals is trying to do is just keep like debate bros out of her audience, right? I don't think it's like some kind of like, you know, harsh line that she's drawing where she wants to ban everybody that's ever even had anything to do with debate streamers. Okay, so this is the new word, debate pervert. Not sure what this is about, but anyway. So I've made the decision. I am no longer engaging with the debate sphere on Twitch at all. I'm being called delusional and toxic by the same people who are completely okay platforming someone named Big Papa Fascist. That's what I'm saying, is this isn't like hidden, right? It's not like they're keeping this guy a secret, you know? A lot of Twitch streamers are doing content with this person, right? A lot of Twitch streamers are doing content with a lot of people that they should know better than to work with, and they're just, you know, kind of doing it for clicks, right? Big Papa Fascist who thinks all gay people are, yeah. So if you are a debate pervert, go ahead and do your thing. I am keeping my distance from it for now. And if you try to drag me into it, I will disengage entirely. So I'm trying to just gauge the reaction, the level of debate is an idealistic pursuit. Meanwhile, the world goes burr. Debate people aren't worth even acknowledging, nor will I. No, I will not debate whether LGBT people deserve rights. This is so based. Where was this shit a year ago? Where was this shit a year ago? Right? This is the thing, is these people, like us, we've always been here, right? It's just that, like, I feel like we felt like we had less of a right to speak up. Like, we thought that we were outgunned and outnumbered, but I'm not sure how true that was. I'm not sure how true that ever was. And because of that, you know, when something like this happens, like, nobody speaks up. When somebody gets attacked for just standing up for trans rights, not even trans people, you know, as far as creators go, will stand up. But, you know, here it is. Here's this demographic. And they're not here for this debate bullshit. They're not accepting their excuses. They're not impressed by their free speech, you know, bullshit, right? Yeah, so it looks like, oh god, here's one. If not, here's what somebody disagreeing. If not for debate, bad ideas would always rule unchallenged. Constant debate is the only way to push for progressive ideas without using authoritarian means. How else do you intend to win the minds and hearts of the masses to your cause? How about this? Let them die out. The right-wing demographic is an aging demographic, right? I don't know. That's just the first thing that comes to mind. I don't even know what this is. Those people are right. Okay, that sounds so there are some people, you know, disagreeing in this thread, but yeah, there's the President Sunday. I'm always saying this. I'm not a debate streamer. I'm just a psychopath who tries to destroy people's lives for no reason. Unbothered. Oh god, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Moisturized even. Yeah. Okay, so that is where Keffals is at. That's where she came down on. I guess we can look at the President Sunday thing really quick since it's very short. Much like no chat. Anyway, now I don't know. Did we see the original one? Did I show you the original one? Okay, so this is I'll show you both since they're so short.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure.
Okay, so this is a screen cap from Keffals watching the Hippy Dippy that she wasn't on, but she ends up like, you know, just seeing what goes on it.
Great to talk to you all as always.
React, Keffals.
On all good social media platforms. If you like racism or
pretty sure that guy is like a pedophile.
Okay, so she says, pretty sure that guy is like a pedophile. What she's talking about is there were grooming allegations made against Chud Logic. What we know is that Chud conversed with a 17-year-old on his Discord in a sexual manner. There was a point in this you know, Discord conversation where Chud did ask, "You are of age, right?" And the answer was not an immediate yes. So, you know, to anybody with any degree of judgment, you got to say that he must have known, right? But I guess there's like a plausible deniability. That's what he's claiming, is that he just like, well, you know, she got to yes. Eventually, she did say yes, so my ass is covered, right? This is the weird thing. It's like people, nobody's like, the problem started when you used your Discord as Tinder, right? That's where the problem started, and you should know better than this, Chud. You know about the power differential between a streamer and an audience member, right? And that never got brought up. All it got was like, basically they take the most overblown version of the claim, which is he totally knew, he was doing this on purpose, he does this all the time, right? And instead of just going, like, there's some really basic shit that's undeniable about that claim, right? So, I mean, like, is Chud a creep? Oh, hell yeah, right? You know, calling him the P word, that might, you know, take a little, you know, if you're going to say that, you probably need to, like, you need to make a case for it or something like that, right? But this is what her audience is telling her about Chud Logic. And there's reasons that people think that, right? So, yeah, she goes ahead and says, you know, the P word and...
CTV, how about yourself?
I gotta correct Chud. He's not fucking Chud Logic on Twitter. This fucking asshole. He's a rational Chad.
You see, you should be like President Sunday. Did you just dry snitch Chud Logic to Twitter? Like, this is the thing. Like the Irrational Chad, yeah. So Chud Logic's banned from Twitter, right? Irrational Chad's his rebrand, and it's like Chud's producer, Chud's friend, or whatever, right? It's one of those things like Destiny. Like, I mean, they usually don't do anything about it, but sometimes they do. And, you know, I mean, like, this is the kind of thing, like a document showing that somebody acknowledging that this is indeed a banned person making a new account on Twitter is just the kind of thing that gets people rebound.
Right? Because he tries to...
Not that he can't just make another account, but...
He tries to be confusing, right? So Rational Chad's where you find him. Anyway, I am CTV, original_CTV on Twitter, twitch.tv/critically thinking veteran, and I facilitate infinity.dg
hit on him. That was fake. All right.
Or Infinity Acre Wood, right? So the...
I know.
Okay, wait, so somebody said that was fake. Okay. He hit on a minor, says somebody. British. Nah, that was fake. Okay, so Kono-kun, looks like they have... Wait, I can't tell what her... Anybody know what Keffals... so there's little badges, right? These ostensibly mean you're a... Okay, so they are not a VIP. That's the VIP badge right there, right? That's a Twitch Prime badge, and then there's a whitefish. I don't even know what the whitefish means, right? But they're saying I mean, I'm guessing it must be somebody that she trusts if she's like reading it off like that. Like, nah, that was fake. The thing is, it wasn't fake. It just was, you know, disputable the way that it was described by people like DJ Mule, like, right? And you know, DJ Mule's a well-intentioned person as far as the debate bros go, but you know what I'm talking about, chat, when I say that he doesn't do his homework, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, when I first encountered him was when I covered one of his videos about Nazbuls, and I had to correct a lot. In fact, there was a lot on the cutting room floor of that, you know, of that video that just like was me reacting in a way that made him look bad or him looking bad. And I cut that out just because he seems like a nice guy. Turns out he's not. He's not a nice guy. He's not a comrade. He doesn't have solidarity. He's just an opportunist, right? Who's more concerned with his career than he is with fighting the debate bros. Bosch is no ally to trans people. I would say that DJ Mule is no ally to trans people. He is definitely not there for you when the chips are down. So yeah, like it's unfortunate that we had an imperfect messenger, kind of a ridiculous person like DJ Mule, making the case and just going for shit of like, what is the strongest claim I can possibly make, instead of just sticking with a, you know, I think the fact that the guy was using his Discord as a Tinder app, I think that's enough, right? It could have been a completely different result, you know, had you know, there'd been a steadier hand at the wheel. But unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. These people are taken seriously on the left, and it's really unfortunate because I see them just taking L's all the time and never learning from it, never strategizing, right? As much as, you know, I appreciate people, you know, having the, you can't dock him for his courage. You know, he stood up to the debate bros. He stood up to, you know, Samantha Banana at one time, like, right? He's, you know, his heart's somewhat in it, but guy's a feeder, I gotta say. And, you know, with help like that, you'd almost wish that the person would sit on the sidelines. That might be a good idea going forward, considering DJ Mule's lack of judgment and, you know, having basically joined NCC Anon. Yeah, DJ Mule is an NCC Anon member. Look for that video coming up. We've got him caught in 4K, feeding the rumors of Zonia, feeding right-wing hate campaigns against me. So yeah, fuck that guy. I mean, like, I need to take him off my, I think I still have him. No, I took him off. I finally took him off the YouTube thing, right? I don't know. I wanted to think that, I don't know.
Never rolled with.
I wanted to think that he was better, but yeah, that was where the allegations came from, and unfortunately, they weren't made by somebody who really knew what he was doing. They were made by somebody who's probably just looking for updates on Twitter, and that's a shame because there is a real issue here. There is a real concern with streamers like Chud Logic using the power imbalance, you know, and like dating somebody at an extreme power imbalance to them. That's a huge issue. That's something that Chud Logic knows is wrong, and yet he did it anyway. And he wants to pretend that he just didn't know what was happening. He had no idea. Poor Chud. If he'd only known, he wouldn't have been a sussy baka. But no, Chud, you're a sussy baka. All right.
That be like, because like,
you may not be a Pedialyte drinker, but you are a sussy. You are a sus.
I don't know if it's actually true. I didn't actually look into it. I just have a lot of people around me like convinced he's a pedophile, but knowing that I have been pedo-jacketed before, I don't feel comfortable like 100% saying yes, he is in fact a pedophile.
This requires no further commentary. This is repulsive and obscenely irresponsible, and Keffals should apologize to Chud Logic immediately.
So a little background, President Sunday, he's definitely a debate streamer, okay? He knows a little bit more theory, he's a little bit more serious about his leftism, but he's, you know, he's kind of run interference for people like Vosh in the past. Like, he's not great, but he's not universally bad either. So I'm trying to present the right image. Like right here, he's got a video going after Mr. Girl. That seems pretty based, right? But with a sensitive content warning too, right? So like, I don't want to, you know, like there are some good things about President Sunday, but overall, you know, I don't know. And then this is the second video.
So, the President Sunday guy, who made that video about how I should apologize.
Are we audible enough, chat? Are we audible?
Really? That's strange. I remember it quite differently. Let's watch that again.
So,
hey, what's up, legit?
President Sunday
Dawn.
guy.
I don't know why I said your name like that. Just the Dawn. Legit Dawn.
Made that video about how I should apologize. Wants to come on the stream.
I have no idea as to why Keffals, or anyone for that matter, would be so stupid as to lie like this in a medium where literally everything one says can be recorded and verified after the fact. But then I'm not a vicious moron.
Did I miss some drama with this shit fuck? Just the Dawn?
All that to say that, no offense, Keffals, but I can't think of anyone I am
like,
less.
Why were you hanging around my community, you debate bro?
You requested me on, rudely, might I add, and I obliged.
Like what?
Let's see how that went.
I'm gonna do.
What do you think you're gonna change me? Are you gonna change me, Just the Dawn? I can change her. Yeah, that's like, I literally told you the straight up truth, which, like, listen, you want me to tell you the truth of the matter? It would be much easier for me to say ChudLogic did nothing wrong and this campaign of hate against him is ridiculous and yada 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 yada. That would be such a safer tack for me to take. The truth is not that, though. Chud had a severe mistake in judgment, at the very least, that makes one call into question whether he can run a community, right? If you can't keep your fucking hands off people in your Discord, can you fucking run a community? I don't know, okay? That's not me trying to drama bait, that's me being a human being. Which apparently is not cool in the debate bro world, so yeah, fuck you too. I don't know. Fuck you, buddy.
Hi.
Hello, audio's coming through?
Yes.
Cool, what do you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, what was I trying to tell you? I think I was trying to tell you that President Sunday and Chud are friends, right? Now, if you look at them though, there's a big difference. I showed you President Sunday doing content on Mr. Girl, right? Talking about the just kind of disingenuous people that platform Mr. Girl just for clicks, just for the spectacle, right? So he's based in terms of that. Who's one of the biggest supporters of Mr. Girl though? ChudLogic, right? These two are friends, right? President Sunday got his start from Chud's community. Now I will say that Chud's community was way different in the past, right? It wasn't so DGG'd up as it is right now, right? It's worse than it's ever been, right? Like the people in there, just I gotta say, like there's not a lot of good people left in Chud's community, basically. And I was part of it, right? So, but yeah, They were friends, they're still friends, and I think that President Sunday's just kind of given his friend a pass. And that's great for your friend, but what the fuck does that say to people in your server? What does that say to people in your community, right? That you don't think it's important to, you know, keep like just a wall of, you know, between yourself romantically and your fans. Like that's not... Anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm sorry, I'm getting hung up on this. If anybody was drama baiting, though, it was just the Dawn, okay? Just to be clear, I am giving you the straight up truth, right? I'm not going DJ Mule on you and telling you that ChudLogic is the fucking Antichrist. And I am not going President Sunday on you and telling you that ChudLogic did nothing wrong. The truth is somewhere in the middle. And it is concerning and it is disturbing, but it's important to state it in, you know, in a way that doesn't kind of jump to conclusions about somebody's intentions, because there's no reason to. It's concerning enough as it is. Dating or opening romantic sexual conversations with people who have a parasocial relationship with you. Yeah, and maybe for a smaller creator, like it might not, you know, I don't know. You could say that small creators aren't exactly rock stars or something like that, maybe, but like it's not something that I would do, and it's not something that Chud should be doing, and I know that he knows the problem there. I know that this isn't a case of him just being unaware of like the power differentials that can exist. He is aware of that and he doesn't care. That's my problem with Chud logic. I don't think I'm overstating him, you know, his sins. I don't think I'm calling him names. I don't think I'm smearing him or, you know, like joining a witch hunt against him. I'm just straight up saying like what happened. And that is what happened. And if any of you have a problem with me straight up saying what happened, then you might as well leave right now because I'm never going to stop doing it. Okay? I don't cover up for anybody. Not Keffals, not Chud Logic, not President Sunday, nobody. Not even myself.
Yeah, I'm just confused. Like, I already apologized to Chud Logic.
I didn't see that. Where?
It didn't need to be a public affair.
Just for the record, that's the second time that Just the Dawn has rage quit. That is the second time that this person has said, you know, fuck you forever. So we'll see how long forever lasts this time. My guess is not that long.
We talked privately.
How long can you hold out?
Let me ask you this. So after
how long can you hold out, Just the Dawn?
Somebody pointed out this was spurious. Yeah. So after that, you said
I think you're in here for something other than politics. I gotta say.
No, I was very aware who Chud Logic was.
Really?
Yeah.
But you said you didn't look into it.
Yeah, I didn't.
So on the basis of no evidence, you just called somebody a pedophile in front of thousands of people. Explain yourself.
Suck D's nuts. All right, I kicked them off.
Okay, well, I guess I was wrong. Keffals, a complete hypocrite there, because clearly Keffals was just sexually harassing President Sunday, right? He said suck these nuts. How could that not be? No chat. That's
Anyway, let's keep going.
There's an alternative chat. Yeah, the alternative chat is for like, wait, why isn't the like mainstream chat on? That's my question though. Where's the mainstream chat at? Maybe I have to reset the mainstream chat.
I'm not a debate streamer. I don't debate.
Okay, I don't know if that fixes it. Sorry, Atrophy Boy, I meant to
also don't have nuts.
Finally, something we agree on.
Okay, so here's a little tip, President Sunday. Like, you can't like make fun of somebody with their own joke, right? If Keffals makes a self-effacing joke, like it, I mean, nice try, but no, that's not. That's an L. That's an L, my friend. That's an L. Okay, so let's see. What is next? We go to yeah, what was that dude on about? I didn't even like. I was like going over the story, presenting it in a very journalistic sort of way. Not a lot of editorial in what I was saying, and all of a sudden I look up to like NCC. How could you? Oh my God! Please save me your concern trolling. Please spare me that shit.
White supremacists.
Okay, that's always a good word to start off with to make sure that you get demonetized. Yeah. Okay, so what do we got? This is Bad Empanada's community tab, and I don't know why all this stuff has been. Let's just make sure really quick. Just really quick, I want to make sure that I'm not missing something that has gone on. No, I don't see any like aristocracy stuff like being legitimately brought up here, so it's not that. I think it's all just in community stuff, right? It's something that happened in YouTube comments, I guess. But we got to go way down here. There's some stuff. Yeah, see, this is a developing situation, right? There's been a few. Keep on going down. Keep on going down. We're going to try to find the start of the drama. Where did the drama start? Like, how could you be involved in Twitch politics and look at what I'm doing and say that's drama baiting? That's disingenuous. Holy shit, you are swimming in disingenuous. If you are anywhere adjacent to Twitch politics, you are swimming in drama baiting. You are existing like 90% of the things that you call politics, like that fucking Hippy Dippy. That wasn't politics, that was drama. That was plain and simple, nothing but drama. Okay, so here's where it starts, I guess. Let's read what we got here. Okay, so this is an Eristocracy tweet. I believe this was the journalist who was killed. That she's horrible scenes as Israel's security force beat. This is the funeral procession that the IDF attacked after they killed Shireen Abu Akleh. And the crowd momentarily lose her control of her casket. That's disgusting. So this happened in Palestine. Eristocracy says, I'm so sorry, horrified and embarrassed to my Palestinian followers who are watching this. I am genuinely sorry, okay? Bad Empanada says, Zionists are like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed by the behavior of our brave and heroic armed forces. Palestinians, I'm sorry. This is what you are. This is your state. This is what was founded on, what it was founded on and what it's for. People from an occupying settler colonial power being embarrassed that it's not treating the natives nicely enough, but not that it's an occupying settler colonial. He's so fucking, okay. He's spitting some fire here. An occupying settler colonial power. It would be fine to them if the people they stole land from had better conditions in their open air concentration camp. Such cognitive dissonance. Okay, so that was... When was this? This was 4 days ago. Okay, so this maybe got started kind of recently, I guess. More recently than I realized. Okay, so here we go. Here's another Eristocracy tweet. Okay, so this is what I get for existing as a Jewish creator. All these quotes are either lies or taken out of context, where I was quoting other perspectives from my own. Now he admits to evading my blocks in order to harass me. YouTube, why is this anti-Semite not banned? Okay, so this is what she's got circled. Bad Empanada says, Oh god, I'm sorry. I should have been in like easy to read mode. I'm so sorry, chat. I'm so sorry. Yeah, this makes it harder to read. Okay, let's see. Like this is the one that, yeah, was the tweet that I was reading from before about the slain journalist. Okay, so the part that Eristocracy has circled says, just learned you can't block another creator from sending you a notification in community post, LMAO. I will use this. I mean... I can't block somebody from, like, mentioning my name on Twitter, right? I think it's the same kind of thing. Okay, so, so wait. I don't know if this is, okay, so this is a community post. Wait, I guess, 2 hours ago. I wonder when this happened. Okay, so I guess we missed this one. Just posting some totally not genocidal quotes from my favorite anime streamer, Eristocracy. They, Palestinians, can't come here. The refugees can't come back. There is no room. Israel can be allowed to have an Arab, can't be allowed to have an Arab majority population. It can't be allowed to become another typical Arab country in the Middle East. It needs to remain with Western values, right? It makes sense to me to at least have one state for your own ethnic group. I think that's totally valid. The Arabs started this conflict. Israel just defends itself. Okay, that is not supporting Israel as a majority Jewish state is pro-genocide. Okay, so wait, so these are all lies. I don't know. I feel like I've heard her say all these things. I mean, is there a word missing? Is there a word that was wrong? Maybe, but I'm pretty sure these are all things that Eristocracy said. I could be wrong. Quoting from others' perspectives. So this was her major, like, big leaf, right? Was saying that, like, everything that was disagreeable that she said, everything that Bad Empanada called out, was something that she was just talking about the perspective of either the average Israeli or a slightly to the right Israeli. She said that and I did hear her do some of that, right? but I don't think it was the stuff that Bad Empanada is talking about. Like she did give some perspective from the average Israeli and caveat that with like, I'm not talking about my view here. I'm talking about the average Israeli, but she kind of also used that. She used the perspective of the average Israeli as an argument against, the rights of the Palestinians. So, she doesn't really have a leg to stand on here. Okay, and then so this is the one where Empanada comes in here and wait, I think, did he delete that maybe? Yeah, I don't see Bad Empanada. Just scroll all the way down again, all the way down. Okay, so Bad Empanada says, animated apartheid streamer really loves the age-old Israeli strategy of literally just saying what I said and did is anti-Semitism and harassment. She was quoted nearly verbatim. Amazing stuff. Evading a block to harass me. Lamau, you can't block people on YouTube. Quoting someone is not harassment. Tagging someone with YouTube's built-in features isn't either. Aristocracy, tagging her again. The cry-bullying that settler colonialism advocates do is amazing. Endlessly trying to frame themselves as the victim while advocating for the continued occupation of Palestine. Receipts for the quotes linked in the comments below. Aristocracy is a straight-up anti-Palestinian racist who supports colonizing them in the name of forming an ethno-state on their land. Okay, so supposedly, in the comments we've got... Okay, so yeah, so basically, these are his videos about her, at least two of the videos that he's done. Scroll all the way down again. Okay. So this went back and forth, it looks like, for a bit. Okay, so there's some more related posts here. Israel is a genocide settler colonial state, which is the functional and moral equivalent of the American colonization of native land. Fact: apartheid is actually a very reductive way to frame Israel's settler colonialism. It was reductive in South Africa too. It frames the issue as mere civil rights that can just be fixed with legal equality, rather than an occupation by a conquering power that stole every inch of the land it claims as its own. Like 80% of Israeli... Okay, this is about food. I'm gonna skip that. Yeah, I mean, we know the thing about the food, right? Like, that's... Help, I'm being harassed, quoted verbatim. Please signal boost. Okay, so this is Discord. So Eris is brigading her own Twitter here to try to get more signal boost to her claim of anti-Semitism by Bad Empanada. So it's not getting enough interaction on Twitter, and she's in her Discord trying to get it more. Oh yeah, so Bad Empanada, like, you know... Not somebody I agree with on everything. Okay, so this is about Lonerbox. At Lonerbox coming out against calling Israel what it is now, a genocidal project of settler colonialism. Predictably, he's not able to explain why. All he can do is express displeasure and indicate that stating incontestable facts about Israel should be taboo. His entire argument in his response thread is, I'm Lebanese, I don't like your tone. Literally not a single ounce of substance. I dare you to try to do better than that. Lonerbox, hop on stream. So he's asking, he's doing a little debate bro here, asking Lonerbox to hop on stream and explain how Israel is not a genocidal settler colonial state, how the verbatim statement of your friend Aristocracy. Oh, I didn't realize that Lonerbox was in with Aristocracy. That's disappointing. Aren't an example of Israelis using Nazi rhetoric, okay, so Aristocracy statements are how modern Hebrew is not a constructed language which was chosen over Yiddish and reconstructed to justify settler colonialism of Palestine specifically. How correctly categorizing Israel using indisputable facts themselves used by many Palestinians hurts Palestinians. Of course, you'd embarrass yourself, so you won't. You'll definitely see this and complain about it. So I want you to know here, since you're afraid to talk about it to me, tepid, coward liberals like you hurt Palestinians. Your position on Palestine, where you performatively pretend to be an advocate while complaining that anyone dare accurately describe it, trying to regulate how one advocates for Palestinian liberation, to liberal framing of human rights abuses, with nothing to say about the actual systemic issues at hand, being Lebensraum-style settler colonialism. Few things hurt more. You're pretending to be an advocate while openly associating and defending Zionists who use Nazi rhetoric like there's no space for Palestinians here. Few things hurt more. Palestine is non-negotiable, but for you it absolutely is, to the point you'll run cover for Palestinians can't come here, there's no room. All it takes for you to change sides is a minor internet dispute where smearing an advocate for Palestine like a Blairite would become convenient. It's telling that you're happy to signal displeasure at two factional statements. The second ironically proven by the statement of your friend Aristocracy, yet have nothing to say about her statements included in the video I know you watched. It's clear whose side you're on. Performative protesting and stopping for photo ops while insisting that Palestinians don't think they're victims of settler colonialism certainly doesn't change that. You are the problem. I'd prove it very easily too, while embarrassing you completely in front of many, which is why you refuse to talk. Lonerbox, looking forward to your upcoming predictable dodge. So what is this? This is Lonerbox saying, I know it must be comforting to have someone simplify the world for you, but this kind of rhetoric discourse helps no one, least of all Palestinians. Okay, so here's Bad Empanada talking about the construction of modern Hebrew. Okay, so this is a comment, I guess. You could say the same about Aboriginal languages and it would still be racist. If Jewish people want to create a cultural identity around speaking Hebrew, then it's their right to do. To attack a Jewish culture as a whole is fucked up. Missing here. Bad Empanada says, I will not back down, I will not apologize, I will not allow myself to be bullied into silence by crocodile tears. If you dare to engage with me, you better bring more than this usual emotional outrage and smear tactics employed against anyone that dares speak the truth about the evil of the state of Israel. It's a shame that most are too cowardly to do the same. The tactic wouldn't work. Instead of regulating our tone as they demand, we would say it louder. Anyone who gives a second thought to the kind of pathetic bullying, this kind of pathetic bullying is doing the cause of Palestinian liberation a disservice. Force them to argue based on reality. Do not accept fake outrage, fake tears. Okay, so that's kind of what's gone on. Now, I'm not going to go and read Aristocracy's tweets, because she's only relevant. Here we go. Let me switch back. Oh my god, Radlibs, indeed. Yeah. Okay, so Aristocracy's only like relevant in terms of that she's interviewing Stardust. Stardust is talking about Keffals, and that's really what we're talking about, is the discourse that we're going to see between Aristocracy and Stardust about Keffals. And it should be pretty revealing from what I've seen so far. So who's Stardust? Well, we've talked about Stardust recently. Stardust was on the panel. Stardust is the reason that Keffals didn't want to be on the stream. Basically, Stardust has cultivated a friendship with somebody who's been stalking and harassing Keffals. That is Flamenco, right? So irrespective of Flamenco's political views, irrespective of, Stardust's, right to stream about what she wants to stream about, like, this is somebody that's hurt Keffals in her community a lot. So it's understandable that she wouldn't want to be on with somebody who's associated with that, right? Okay, so we're gonna look at this small streamer over here, No Comment Clips, who you should totally check out if you haven't already. And we're gonna see if she's got anything. Oh, look, she does. She got some stuff about Stardust. Okay, so let's see what this is about Stardust ideology. Let's see what she has to say.
My political beliefs, I am like a typical liberal, but I'm also like, I'm progressive, but also I'm very offensive. So, yeah. Maybe I don't want to label myself. How about that? Maybe I just want to, like, I don't know, identify as a feminist and, like, maybe defy the norms of what people think are a feminist. Oh, let
defy
Doobie
the
speak.
Norms.
Does Doobie want to speak?
Okay, so does Doobie want to speak? I'm going to defy the forms of what people... Wait, I gotta hear... What did she say again?
So what people think are a feminist.
Defy the forms... Wait, is that what she said? Did she really say defy the forms of...
Maybe defy the norms of what people think are a feminist.
Defying the norms of what people think are a feminist. That's what Stardust is about. That's what Stardust is about. But does Doobie want to speak? Doobie does want to speak. Let's see what Doobie has to say. What is Doobie saying?
Yeah. I'm super triggered about that entire situation. They blocked me. Yeah, they blocked me. She blocks.
They blocked me, says Doobie.
You smacked her down good.
Smacked her down good, though, Doobie.
At least,
It was really annoying because I wanted to yell at them more. It actually was.
He wanted to yell at me, chat. Doobie came to Twitter. This is a really sad story. He came to Twitter to harass me during the Dylan Burns thing. He wanted to yell at me. He wanted to yell at me more. And he wasn't allowed to because Twitter has this horrible, undemocratic fortune called the block, and she blocked him. That fucking femoid blocked him. Just straight up blocked him after only going back and forth with him on about 5 messages, right? How bad faith, how disingenuous of this No Comment chick. But don't worry, Doobie, because you smacked her down good, says Stardust. Pick me.
Really frustrating. Yesterday was like the
pick me, Doobie.
First time I'd ever actually started using Twitter.
Yeah.
And yeah, they blocked me, and it was really annoying because I wanted to yell at them more.
It was really annoying because he wanted to yell at me more, chat. So Stardust was there to console Doobie on, wanting to. Of course, he wanted to yell at me more, right? That's understood. Of course, you got to yell at the femoid. I think there is one more clip here that might be relevant. Let's take a look. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So there was one other, so not to make you think that Stardust didn't have any substantive criticisms of me. She did. She said that I had a lot of gall to come after Aristocracy over platforming, considering that I had platformed Chaos Ismail. What's the problem with Chaos Ismail? Well, in Stardust's mind, Chaos Ismail is a genocide denier. Now, what did Chaos Ismail actually say about the Uyghur genocide? She said pleady face, right? So she was asked about it. She gave a tweet that was pleady face. People really didn't like this, but it's literally a pleady face. Like, she didn't actually answer, right? They didn't like that they felt like she was obfuscating. That was bad, right? So I shouldn't bring this person who couldn't give a straight answer on the Uyghur genocide. I shouldn't bring them on, right? Genocide denialist, bad, right? That's what Stardust said. Let's see what she does though, when she gets her own chance to bring on a genocide denier.
Like, all I did was ask her, is it true that you platformed a genocide denier, right? and she blocked me. This is after she's going on and on about who Eris is platforming and all of that. Like, are you kidding me?
I don't think there's a genocide going on in Xinjiang.
So,
What was that? That was Haas from Infrared, right?
platforming and all of that. Like, are you kidding me?
I don't think there's a genocide going on in Xinjiang.
Okay, so you know how I said that Chaos's Mel answered with a pleady face? Haas answered with, I don't think there's a genocide going on there. That was Haas's answer. So if your concern is, you know, acknowledging that, Haas denied it straight up. Straight up. Stardust, you got no leg to stand on. You are a phenomenal hypocrite. And it's only a matter of time till your own words catch up with your dumbass and plant your nose in the ground where it belongs, Stardust, because you tripped over your dad's dick. And I can say that because that's Stardust loves dad dicking. I'm sorry, I'm just dad dicking back. Should it have been my dad's dick? I don't know. Somebody's dad's dick. Apparently that's not TOS on Twitch, so.
Yeah, I see you. You're upside down.
Okay, so she's having fun with the genocide denier after telling me what a problem, what a horrible problem it was for me to platform Chaos's Mel. She's literally humanizing and you're gonna see this. This is a common theme. This is what's wrong with Stardust as a social media entity. In her attempt, she says, to humanize herself to groypers, to race realists, some real sussy bakas, right? She says, if they just got to know me, they wouldn't be so racist. If they just got to know you, Irene, maybe they wouldn't be so transphobic. So according to Stardust's ideology, I am depriving these unfortunate racists, these unfortunate transphobes of my contact with me, of engaging with me, and thereby I'm failing to humanize trans people to these people. So I'm actually hurting the trans cause more than Stardust is. That is the kind of pretzel logic that we're dealing here with Stardust. That is what we're looking at. That is, you know, right? So, you know, here we got I don't remember this person's name, Johnny something, Hunter Avalon, Hans of Harkir, I don't know, I don't care, I don't know, I don't care. I think that's City Cat, actually, I do care. Do know, do care. Johnny Scarlet, that's who that is, okay.
Literally, what is this?
I love it.
I don't know the streamer, though. The streamer in the middle, do not know.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Are you somebody that do you not believe in the week?
Okay, so yeah, just not only are we gonna bring Haas on, but we're gonna fucking joke around with him and stuff, right? Genocide denial, it's a big deal, but only when a femoid does it. Only when Chaos's Mel does it, and only when nocommentchick is the one platforming them, right? When it's Stardust platforming Haas, it's perfectly fine. And so, like, I want you to notice this about Stardust. Like, at no point do I want anybody to think that I am claiming that Stardust has like a far-right affinity, okay? I haven't seen any evidence to that. I think she doesn't care. I think she is about her career. She is about career advancement, and anyone or anything that gets her to that place is all right with her. So, you know, it's not that she loves, like, you know, Nazbuls and that she loves like race realists that I know of, right? I've not seen any evidence to that. It's that they're useful and they get her clicks. And that's who she is. So just understand what I'm saying, where my criticisms are, right? I'm not going to read any sort of, you know, ideological intention into her motives, because I don't really think you saw her trying to defend her, trying to define her feminism, trying to define her liberalism. She doesn't know, and she doesn't care. And, you know, if I asked her about it, she'd say it doesn't matter. And that's who she is.
Your stuff?
What a pity. But let's read it. Let's read it.
Wait, no, wait. I'm curious. Have you ever argued? Wait, real quick. Do you think the Holocaust happened?
Of course.
Okay. Are you aware that people make the exact
Wait,
same
what is
statements
that?
about like Hitler's words, that things were mistranslated and whatnot? Like,
no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no. I mean, it's not comparable in this case, though.
Why is it not comparable?
Because German is well known, is a much more familiar language to English speakers.
Okay, so that was his excuse. Yeah.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Is it true that you platformed a genocide denier?
I don't think there's a genocide going on.
So no, I didn't show you who she's talking to because I literally can't. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think this person's banned, right? But yeah, somehow she was talking to him, and you know, that's who she is. All right, so let's take a look now. Now that we've set up, I've reminded you of who Eristocracy is, and that's the only reason I was going over the Bad Empanada stuff. Plus, that's, you know, new stuff in the Bad Empanada Aristocracy beef, which we're following, right? I wanted to remind you of who Stardust was, who Eristocracy was. Now we're going to watch Aristocracy interview Stardust, right? I'm going to skip over.
I mean, I have my criticism.
So it looks like they start off talking about some personal stuff here, and I don't ever want to make it personal with anybody, right? The problems that I have with Stardust, the problems with that I have with Aristocracy, they're not personal, they're ideological, right? I think these are bad faith actors. I think they're doing harm with their social media presence. I think they're doing harm with their social media presence, but it's not personal. And I don't ever want it to get there. So yeah, we're going to skip over the personal information about Stardust. I'm really not as interested in Stardust the person as I am in Stardust the streamer. And same thing goes with Aristocracy, right?
Of Islam, but that's not really around like that specifically.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're the audio's not going on that, but oh my god, did it
you have of Islam? Like, do you want to kind of like would you be able to summarize it a bit, or?
Sure. I think it's similar to a lot of religions in that a lot of religions put women in a second.
Sorry, I should catch up with chat, shouldn't I? Stardust just seems like she oh my god, let me just read this from oh my god, there's so much. Chat, you've been busy. You've been really busy. Can you give background on Flamenco? I'm not familiar with this person. I'm sorry I'm so late in answering you. I hope you're still here. Flamenco is the co-host of the Kill Stream, right? Flamenco and Ethan Ralph hosted the Kill Stream together. At some point, they had creative differences or some kind of differences, and they split up. And now they're in a huge beef. And that was what Stardust wanted to bring to Twitch, was a debate between Ethan Ralph and Flamenco. Right, hosted and moderated by Booger Nick himself. Bad Empanada and Chaos's Mel equal based. Yeah, I'd say they're in the base department. Yeah, we could say that. We could say that. Oh, sorry. Wait. I just like his style, but I cannot question his methodology. Also, fuck off, Loaderbox. I'm so tired of mealy-mouthed whites covering lies up and saying it's all about nuance. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Seen someone speak about Keffals before. I think it was maybe Chaos's Mel. Yeah, we got critical support for Keffals. That's where we're at right now. The people that are attacking Keffals are largely, you know, bad faith actors, although, like, you know, I'm sure everybody's got some legitimate criticism about them. Keffals is no exception to that. But in terms of, you know, the allegations about the Catboy thing and the, you know, the kind of just, I don't know, what are they calling her, a crybaby and stuff? They're like saying that she's creating the drama when they're literally like creating drama for her, trying to harass her. Can we watch the Stardust interview with Stardust about the Keffals thing? That's what that is. Yeah, that's what we're gonna watch. Unless you mean something else, Binu in space. Oh, I see someone's, okay, yeah, Chaos's Mill. Loaderbuck's kid is such a fucking nerd. No, you're not wrong. Wasn't she CP USA? She was way back in the day. Or CP Canada, maybe. Right? Am I right about that, chat? So some reservations about Bad Empanada. This is being charitable to Empanada, but at best, I would have to read everything and make up my own mind. Bad Empanada is just kind of reminding us of stuff that has already been put forward about aristocracy. These are aristocracy's own words. I mean, Bad Empanada's interpretation being what it is, I think that you can see, like, you know, her words are more than problematic, and it's really disingenuous coming from somebody that pretends to be, you know, pretends to care about the Palestinian people, considering the, you know, her, you know, takes on Israel Palestine, right? They're a lot further right wing than anybody realizes, right? In a lot of ways, Vosh linking arms with aristocracy is it's got, like, at the very best, it is from a lack of vetting and looking into what she's about. It doesn't seem like something even Vosh would get behind, right? Who is this Keffals, and does she have a YouTube channel? She does have a YouTube channel. It is called Keffals, and she is a streamer on Twitch who is known for ratioing all the sussy bacas. So Jordan Peterson, ratio. You know, Steven Crowder, ratio. Yeah, that's what Keffals does. Keffals goes around and ratios people. It's pretty cool. And she also raises money for trans charities, which, yeah, and brings attention to some of the issues that nobody else is talking about. So yeah, critical sport for sure. Can you show what the other people are saying? Are people at least hearing Empanada? Aristocracy constantly makes claims of harassment. Yeah, like she said that I harassed her. She said that I gave her death threats. And she never provided any proof, right? The only thing I can figure out that she might be referring to is when I said something like, Eris, if you're gonna, you know, bring on Dylan and come after me in content, you can't be surprised if I'm gonna come after you too, which is what I was doing. I was talking about her platforming of a pissed off, salty Dylan, letting him grind his axe against me, and then trying to act like, you know, we're still friends. That's what she was doing. That was really disingenuous of her, and I had a problem with that, right? And, you know, she thought that by saying that don't be surprised if I come after you, so obviously a physical threat, right? It's like, no, Eris, you have to interpret the fuck out of that statement to turn that into a physical threat. But she scared my mod team so much that they had me delete the VOD out of fear of her and Samantha Banana, which that's the crew she runs with. This is the weirdest thing, chat, is the people that Aristocracy runs with, her friends, her network of support, the people that got her start are some of the furthest right people on the platform. Samantha Banana, Lauren Southern, editor and mod. Doobie, Discord entrepreneur extraordinaire who cultivated a community that's about half Nazis. And which, you know, basically with Discord, you could have people as young as 14 being there. So Doobie's, through his belief in free speech, he feels like it's okay to allow 14-year-olds to get recruited by hard right extremists like that, right? So this is who Aristocracy hangs out with. And the fact that Vosh and nobody else seems to like just kind of like just look into a little bit about what she's about. Like just look into, type in Aristocracy and turf, for instance, right? And find out that she's, you know, run interference for Lacey Green. Yeah, so she constantly makes claims of harassment when people are simply criticizing her genocidal takes. True. There were incidences where it was clear that those were her personal beliefs. True. She also makes jokes about not being... Oh, I didn't even hear the joke. Yeah. It's not even... Oh, she says it's not even an apartheid. Stardust just seems like she doesn't want to give an F about offending others. And that makes me very... that makes for some very unempathetic takes. It gives her a huge blind spot. The exact size and shape of my dad's... No, just kidding. We're not going back to... I don't understand why she does... I don't... Does any... Can anybody explain the dad dick meme to me? I don't understand the dad dick. And I'm somebody who does those kind of jokes all the time, and I still don't get it, right? I must be missing a meme or something. Only difference between is Haas is a cis dude, exactly. I can't fault that. You probably know more about Sansoy than I ever care to. Too many players, genocide bad. Yes, that was the genocide bad take. That's exactly it. What's up, MRFA? No, you're not that late. Like I just, listen, I'm late. I was supposed to be on way earlier. I'm almost thinking though, like I do somehow do better at night streams. I don't know. Maybe I should go back to streaming kind of late. I don't know. What do you think, chat? If you have opinions, I'm interested in hearing those. But great question. Probably as soon as the story gets more play in the mainstream, it's still getting overshadowed by other stories. And wait, we're talking about playing the pink card, left, right, and center. Oh yeah, she does a lot of that. Keffals' channel is great. She has a clip of the needle drop. Yeah, that's right. Anthony Fantano reviews transphobia. That's a good clip. Yeah. Yeah. No, Keffals, there's a lot to like about Keffals, right? I don't know a super large amount. We were kind of friends back in the day. We were supposed to debate on cat boys versus cat girls, and that never happened. So, you know, I don't know, maybe she'll get back to me about whether she wants to do that debate still. It was a very serious debate, chat. It was a very serious issue between Keffals and me, you know. very real drama there. But yeah, let's dive into this aristocracy Stardust thing. And now that I've read everyone's chat.
Secondary status.
Oh, and thank you for the follow.
I don't think that
person who followed.
I'm not denying that there's like a reality that
somebody
sometimes
followed.
women are just more drawn to certain things than men are, but I do think that there I don't think that means that we
Richie
should be
Therial,
secondary.
thank you.
And I do think specifically Islam, like I always thought it weird when my mom and I would see women who would like wear the burqa or the niqab. Like there's no way I can look at that and not see that as like inherently oppressive. It's something that's separating you from your peers.
I'm too low.
It's making
There
you
we go.
stand
That's
out like
better.
a sore thumb. Like the hijab, I have no problem with. That's something I think a lot of people can like blend into society and assimilate into society with that. But the niqab and the burqa are very much
they
like
cover your
barriers
face,
to that.
right?
Yeah,
not just.
So blending into society and assimilating into society. I'm not gonna like really talk too much about her takes on Islam here, but I will note that a lot of what she is about, if you take it at its best, right? If you interpret, but what I am gonna point out with Stardust's emphasis on assimilation is that this is gonna be a theme, right? So part of her explanation for why she has like people like Flamenco and groypers, other groypers like on, why she's kind of, maybe embraces that and engages with that more than you'd think that she would, is because she says she's worried about getting harassed by them if she doesn't. So what does that sound like? That almost sounds like she perceives herself as being, under the control of the extreme far right. Like that the only way to save yourself from them is to, platform them, to do what they want, right? And maybe they'll accept you, and maybe they'll recognize you as like, yeah, you're. Well, I don't want to say it, chat, but like I'm sure that the phrase is running through your minds right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes them particularly unique.
Yeah, and it's like a barrier. Like anybody would, if you can't, it's just a barrier to integration, really. So I think that I don't know. I just think that there's no way I can look at the burqa or the niqab and not say that it is inherently oppressive towards women.
So your family is originally from India, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did they were your parents immigrants or were their grandparents immigrants?
So my parents were immigrants. Yeah.
Do you know why they came?
So my dad's family came to America first. And then when he married my mom, she came over. Essentially, that's pretty much it. So, oh
wow, that adds like so many layers to. I don't know I don't think you use the term abuse, right? But it adds so many layers to the situation that your mom was in.
Yeah,
she's like in this new country as well.
Yeah, she was in an arranged marriage as well. She knew that like the only way out of her situation was to kind of like go with this, and she did. And then my dad ended up being like the worst possible person to be in an arranged marriage with. So yeah.
I'm often not against the idea of arranged marriages, but like they can definitely go south in situations like this.
Some arranged marriages do work out really well, like especially if both families are meeting and there are no red flags, and you would trust your family to find somebody who would be good to you. But sometimes you just can't predict things. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. The reason why I was asking you earlier, like about the about like why you're curious about like why people were being discriminatory and all that stuff with you, is it kind of connects to, I think, probably the main criticism I've seen of you, which has to do with like the drama that happened recently, which is about your so-called associations. So like Mr. Girl or Flamenco or I don't know, like I've heard other associations, I can't remember their name, so I have no clue even if that's true. And so I guess like one of the theories that I had, because I
mean, in my mind, it's not as much about her associations, but about her platforming. It's about, you know, what she's done with her platform. And we could see even back, you know, when she was on the Chaos Cast bringing Haas on, that there wasn't, that the concern that she expressed for other people's use of their platforms didn't apply to her, right? Genocide denier, that's a problem? Well, not for me, right? I don't know. Yeah.
Don't know you insanely well, but from what I know, you seem like, honestly, an incredibly, and I'm saying this genuinely, like you honestly seem like, first of all, incredibly brave. Like you say things and do things that I genuinely admire, even when you know that you'll get pushed back against it, like last week with the Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation. And I also know that you're an incredibly compassionate person. So I guess I was trying to
I'm not sure what Stardust said on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation. I can't really speak to that. Anybody know?
Rationalize in my head, like why would you, I don't know, say these nice things about people that I consider, well, like say like with Mr. Girl, that I consider I really don't like his ideas or anything, and like why would you like them? So the way I was kind of like rationalizing it in my head, and you can tell me,
I mean, in chat, she doesn't just like them. She wrote, oh God, we got to deviate for a second. Okay. We got to deviate for just a second. Trying to remember who this person is that made a video. Yeah, it's like, okay, so
hello everyone.
Now I watched this, okay? And I love you, Mayhem, right? I agree with you that Stardust is cringe and problematic, but Jesus Christ, you were a little mean, okay? So we're not gonna watch the mean part, okay? There was a little bit of mean girl stuff in there, and I mean, like, that's on you if that's, you know, like, I just, like, that's not what I'm trying to show my audience here. What I want to show them is your coverage of... Oh yeah, it might have even been from somebody else's video or something, right? Okay, so let's see if there's any timestamps on this. I don't see any timestamps. Okay, it's somewhere in the end, right? That we get Stardust reading an impassioned plea for Mr. Girl to be understood from Stardust, right? And it's kind of striking. There's her debate with Merrick on, I think it was Mr. Girl, right? Well, I guess we could just like watch a little bit of this.
I think it's disrespectful. I think that it's honestly a little bit misogynistic, the amount of hate that I'm getting for this, because anybody in the debate sphere would have said that I won one. So
He's going to be talking about these things. He needs to know what he's talking about.
Does he? It's Twitch. Yes. I'm not going to be lectured though by somebody who has the brain of a cold mashed potatoes. How long is this point?
No, stop
when
making
Mr.
fun of
Girl
her.
was banned on Twitch, Stardust.
Look, people like, I love it when people share their voice on stream. Like, right? I don't think that we should be holding people up to some like standard of professionalism, like, right, or making fun of their.
Wrote them a heartfelt expression of her appreciation for him, begging Twitch to unban him. I will now do a dramatic reading of the thread. Dear Twitch.
Oh, you want to link
at Twitch support?
Mayhem? Okay.
Please give my friend Mr. Girl's account back. He is a well-meaning, kind soul. Mr. Girl is incredibly creative and talented.
Incredibly creative.
And I can only see him
talented.
Growing. He may have controversial ways of framing things, but that aids him in starting and propelling a conversation about a subject forward. When I first saw Mr. Girl, I was slightly taken aback by how open and frank he was, but something about his honesty and his humor spoke to me. It felt like I'd met a long-lost kin. He believes so much in the truth, even when it ain't convenient. He's an advocate for health overall,
so much in the
and
truth.
for healthy boundaries. He's encouraged people to better their lives every chance he gets. He will turn down incredible opportunities to live by his principles. I don't think most people are like him. I very rarely talked to someone who understood me, who knew what it was like to walk around with a shadow over you. I think he knew, and never expected anything in return from me. It's nice to meet someone else who lives in the dark. Mr. Girl is unafraid to explore the hard, painful, dark parts of being human, and explore how to grow past these parts. Please give him his channel back. It's such a waste if he doesn't put his creativity into the world. Thank you for reading my thread.
If this is true or not, is that it's like your way of trying to understand why they hold these, you know, these weird views that you personally have been harmed by. Like say like with Flamenco, right? Because he's been associated with like Nazi ideology and all that stuff.
Been associated with.
I mean, yeah,
like,
I
wait,
also
that
think
makes
that,
it
like,
sound like it's something that happened to him. We're talking about things that Flamenco did. We're not talking about anything that, you know, any unfortunate, oh my god, poor Flamenco, like he like
I don't think anybody is past the point of redemption. So I don't want to ever isolate somebody from.
I mean, that's literally what your hate campaigns against people like me and Keffals do. Like, Stardust, you're part of this, okay? You're part of this right-wing ecosystem, right? What did you think that Doobie was doing coming on your stream? Like, you know, wanted to, you know, invite me into, you know, having a nice discourse? That guy tried to shut me down. That guy tried to blacklist me from anything. Don't you tell me anything about cancel culture or like isolating somebody when like that is literally their strategy. What does Doobie do? How did Doobie's server get so big? Well, if you believe what he said on podcasts, which, you know, like assuming it's not a shit post, right? He went around and intimidated people into combining their discords with him. Right? The idea being that you're all blacklisted, you're all banned from my Discord if you don't give me admin or close down your Discord, or in some ways, basically, you gotta bend the knee to Doobie. That's
from having like friendship and things like that. I think that goes a long way. I think Flamenco, like obviously he's got a history. He has a past that's like not the best. He used to be a co-host of Killstream. But him and Ethan Ralph are like virtually enemies now. He's still pretty conservative, I would say. He's still like, I think he's like a paleocon or something like that.
But are they enemies because he really disagreed with all of Ethan Ralph's dangerous ideology?
So now that's a good question.
Know,
she's
Ethan Ralph. Like
kind of it looks like
participated in like revenge porn, and
yeah, he doesn't like that about him.
He's an open anti-Semite. Like this guy is like he's just like a neo-Nazi, like basically. So,
I don't know much about Ethan Ralph. I know that Flamenco and him got into fights over like the ethics of some of the stuff that he did. I think, I mean, one thing that was really funny to me is one of my earliest interactions with Ethan, Ralph, and Flamenco, actually, like very early on in our friendship is, Ethan Ralph, I think, tried to like cancel Flamenco for like respecting people's pronouns, which was like the funniest thing on earth to me. So, I mean, like, I think,
shit. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
Flamenco believes in respecting people's pronouns. That's surprising.
Yeah, he does. So,
Flamenco is crusty. Yo, Flamenco has lied to people before. Like, this is the game that Flamenco played with Xanderhall. like pretending to be interested in being de-radicalized. De-radicalization. Like, can you give me some brochures on that, Xander Hall? And Xander Hall's like, sure thing, Mr. Flamenco. We're gonna get you right. You know, it's like super fucking naive, right? But he believed it, right? And he brought in an extreme dad and he brought in Flamenco. Both of these people tried to hurt Xander Hall's community, right? These are not people to trust. These are people that have like literally said, I will be better, and then fucked people over. I mean, like Stardust, I'm like, and this is the thing, is like, if you really look at it, like, it looks like kind of a hostage situation. I mean, I'm sure I'm overblowing that, and that's not the right way to like look at this, right? Hey, Geek Prime, meow. But it feels like that if she were to decide, you know what, I don't want to be around these people anymore, like her backing out wouldn't be a simple affair. And that's, you know, the problem, right, with associating with these people. Like, I don't know, you thought that, you know, whatever intentions that Stardust went into this with, right? I'm not sure she feels safe getting out of it. And that's scary stuff. And that's something that I've noticed about Twitch poll people, right? Now, what is Twitch poll? It's a Discord server. It's a mainly a content creator, like, you know, kind of meet and greet type of place, right? And it's run by Eristocracy, Samantha, Doobie, Zonia, Sleepy, right? It's you recognize these names now. You're starting to notice, like, right, that these names always seem to occur around some really sus shit. And hopefully maybe not so much for Sleepy anymore, because Sleepy's trying to live a different kind of life now, we hope. And but yeah, that's who Twitch poll was. So these right-wingers, I'm gonna say it, these alt Twitch contingent created something that was needed, which was a content creator, a social networking platform, and they got enough people onto it to where people were like, oh, well, if this person and this person and this person, I'm not going to name any names, right? Because I think there's some good people that got pulled into this, right? But if this person and this person and this person are on it, I should be on it too. Never mind the rumors about, like Samantha Banana being associated with it, right? So they basically signed on to this, social media platform run by the right wing of Twitch. And surprise, surprise, everyone amongst them who was truly left got marginalized, got attacked, got pushed down, got hurt, right? And the envelope kept on getting pushed over to the right, and things like Mr. Girl and Flamenco and Fuentes and all the rest of the bullshit got normalized, right? And that is, that is who these people are. That is what they've been a part of. It's a concerted effort to move things on Twitch to the right. And so in some ways it should come as no surprise that, that they're involved in this stuff, and that you've got somebody like Stardust who, like, if she gets brought on a panel, she's considered a left-winger. She's considered on the left side of things, right? Somebody who's friends with Flamenco and Nick Fuentes is considered left. That is how screwed up Twitch politics is, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but these facts are undeniable.
I don't know much about Ethan Ralph. I know that Flamenco and him got into fights over like the ethics of some of the stuff that he did. I think, one thing that was really funny to me is one of my earliest interactions with Ethan, Ralph, and Flamenco, actually, like very early on in our friendship, is Ethan Ralph, I think, tried to like cancel Flamenco for like respecting people's pronouns, which was like the funniest thing on earth to me. So, I mean,
chat, did you see this part? Like, do I need to roll it back further?
Like, I think,
shit. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Flamenco believes in respect.
You got somebody's pronouns right once? Was it Blair White?
People's pronouns. That's
surprising. Yeah.
It's so refreshing, isn't it? It's great. It's great.
So people would be surprised at a lot of things by these people. I
think this is about where it cut off, right?
He's like a paleocon, but like he will. I'm pretty sure he has like trans people in his audience. I'm pretty sure he like for the most part I've seen is you know, pretty respectful with people's pronouns. He did make videos about Keffals around the time that Destiny was banned, because he's part of the community on YouTube that is very opposed to false flagging in getting people.
And this is my problem with my fellow lefties, right? Max Idol, you're 100% right, okay? This is my problem with my fellow lefties. Y'all are too concerned with pushing each other out, right? To even notice when the thing that you're using to push somebody out is a right-wing campaign against them. Mix Zenith, DJ Mule, I lay this shit at your feet. You are collaborators with these people. This is their plan. This was Zonia's shit. The whole fucking manifesto. It's a rehash of what Zonia said in October, right? Before she got proven to be a liar. She was saying that I was responsible for all the harassment that was going on with me. When we looked at the evidence, we found that when those accounts were being made, when one of those accounts was being made that Zonia showed, I was literally dancing. She shows receipts based on the fact that most people see receipts and they think, okay, well, that's proof of something, of whatever she's claiming. Okay, so whatever she's claiming is true. You gotta look at the proof and see if it corresponds with what somebody's saying. And when the proof was looked at, when that time in the stream was found, when that person was, you know, signing up to harass me, I was literally dancing. So, you know, in the words of DSD, if Irene's making alt accounts at this time, she must be doing so telekinetically. That's when all the lies started to fall apart, right? And Zonia, you know, nukes her Twitter account, disappears, tries to make it look like, you know, nothing happened. And then she pawns it off on some ex-mods who were angry at me because I'd fired them. Right? One of the mods tried to manipulate me and I wasn't having it, right? When I got that red flag, I said, that's it. I can't work with you anymore. And they were angry. So this is the, you know, these are the people that Zonia got to, and she handed her, you know, list of sins of nocommentchick over to them. It's just a rehash of that shit. And these people, these supposed leftists, DJ Mule, Mix Zenith, Lady Raincloud, like, right, it's a really strange group of people that have formed this NCC anon, you know, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's a conspiracy theory is really what it is, because to believe this is to believe that Irene can be streaming, harassing people, ordering, you know, clandestine operations to go on. Like, I would have to be, like, you know, like, I would have to be in so many places at one time. I would have to be so much more productive than I actually am. And as y'all know, I can't even finish a YouTube video half of the time. You all are, like, waiting for the next YouTube video. So, yeah, it was a pretty ridiculous claim. It's not something somebody should have believed, but there's so much infighting in the left that anybody who was, like, a hater already, they just glommed right onto it. They never looked, they never clicked Zonia's fucking head to see that she is literally alt Twitch. She is literally part of this Twitch poll thing, right? This effort to take a platform which was actually decently left compared to other social media platforms when I joined it, and really steer it in a rightward direction, right? And people like DJ Mule and Mix Zenith just, like, you know, fed right into that because of their spite for me.
Falsely.
But yeah, so, like, people are becoming aware of how, you know, what Stardust and Sansoy are doing in terms of people they're platforming. People are starting to care about that. Like, I've been on this story for more than a year. I've been looking at this. I've been dealing with this. I've been attacked by these people for like a straight year now, right?
Like, removed from platforms. On YouTube, there's a huge
Aristocracy being, yeah, another example.
So,
like, this is the person who, like, wrote that impassioned plea for understanding of Mr. Girl, right? This bitch said that I was creepy, right? This bitch said that I was creepy.
So I think he did make some stuff about her. He has done.
But Mr. Girl's fine. Like, not creepy at all.
Deny that he's done some things that are, you know, a little bit unhinged in the past. And like, people will tell him, you know, his friends will tell him, like, hey, that, like, there was like a whole intervention recently that people had with him or I don't know about recently, but like some time back. But where they were like, don't do this thing, you sound unhinged, which was, you know, and he takes those things into consideration.
So, I mean, she's not remembering, like, there was something that Flamenco did that sounded unhinged and people told him and he took it into consideration. He took some feedback. I don't know what it was about, right? I don't know what the excess was. Was he being racist? Was he being transphobic? Like, what was unhinged about it, right? I don't even know, you know, I mean, like, it's weird that, like, when Stardust does make, like, a slight little criticism of Flamenco, it's like an ableist criticism. It's like, is he unhinged? Like, okay, we're going to talk about the guy's mental health now? That seems not great. Part of those haters, part of what those haters are doing is trying to distract you from issues that you really care about. If you are dealing with them, yeah, exactly. Well, you know, hopefully we don't have to deal with the hate raids anymore, right?
I'm just not willing to completely ostracize somebody. And he's somebody who's kind of like, you know, stuck up for me as well. And we have meaningful conversations when we do have deep conversations. So I don't know. I just, you know, one thing growing up, I read like about like these terrorists who like took part in like 9/11. This is going to sound horrible.
Oh, the thing with Xanderhal. So wait, she got them off Xanderhal. Now, here's an interesting thing about Xanderhal, okay? Apparently, one of the places that Zonia has landed was in Xanderhal's community. A lot of people do not want to have anything to do with Zonia. She's burned Ico Rules. She's burned Mix Vivian. She's burned me. She's basically, you know, people. Demon Mama. What's her name? Josie. Does anybody know a trans streamer named Josie? Apparently, also, you know, got attacked by Zonia. So a lot of people know about her, right? But somehow Xanderhal's community didn't get the message, and she snuck right in there, and you know, has kind of insinuating herself. So Xanderhal's community is like a little bit like, in some ways you could see that maybe Xanderhal, like Stardust was able to convince Flamenco that Xanderhal's compromised enough that it's not really a target that, you know, he being part of a right-wing hate campaign on that Kentucky Fried website needs to deal with. Like, right? Xanderhal's not that bad. He's on our side. We've got him under control. There's someone in his community giving him a whole lot of money and basically, you know, just leading him around by the nose.
But I read about these terrorists who took part in it. And a lot of these people, like the ones that they would recruit from the West, are men who were like isolated, who had nobody like around them, who were looking for like
oh god, I gotta reset like, the chat again.
Friendship and community, and they didn't feel like they fit in, and then because they got discriminated against, they felt even more ostracized. And I think that isolation does a lot to a person, and I'm not willing to isolate anybody. I think
we've already talked about why that's bullshit.
The only time I'm willing to like really cut people off is when they are being destructive in my life. So I mean, that's why I want to talk to people. So
think about that. The only time I'm willing to cut people off is when they are being destructive in my life. That could be somebody criticizing her. So you'll actually no, we got this maybe more on the Hippy Dippy, that she considers people criticizing her platform to be like destructive, like taking food out of her mouth, like, right? She feels entitled to not just being supported by, you know, her community, but to a lack of criticism so that nothing possibly interrupts that support from the community. She feels like she's entitled to that, and if anybody says anything bad about her, well, they're taking, you know, money out of her pocket.
With different views, I want to understand like where they're coming from.
And what you got to understand as a streamer is you're not entitled to shit. And like, you know, the degree to which your community supports you has a lot to do with the degree to which you support them, right? It's you know, and the degree to which people want to be a part of what you're doing. And if what you're doing is bringing on like a bunch of race realists and creeps like Mr. Girl, there might be some people who don't want to be part of that. And that is not them taking something away from you. That is them understanding more about you and therefore, you know, deciding that the, you know, priority to support you isn't what they thought it was, right?
Have to see me as a human.
Like, we all have to understand this as streamers, right?
Not like this caricature that's been painted for them.
Hey, Ninetails.
The latter, I completely understand. Like, as a Jewish woman, as an Asian woman, like, I completely understand the this need to feel like, no, like, we're not like what you think. Let me prove it. You know, like, let me, like, just get to know me. And
I mean, that's at the heart of it, isn't it? That's at the heart of it. You know, my idea when I encounter oppression is to fight it. Their idea, you know, their instinct when they encounter oppression is to somehow, I don't know, like assuage it, you know, satisfy it, make it not, you know, hate us, you know, right?
I'll change your mind.
I'm gonna earn your trust. Don't worry, I'll show you what a good person I really am.
And feeling like
I don't think that as a marginalized person, that's not where I want to be.
Sword for it, like
I can only speak for my own identity, right?
But like the stuff before is what is stuff that I still don't understand. The like just some of the stuff again. A lot of the stuff is, as many people on Twitter told me multiple times, it's hearsay, because I am not a victim of flamenco so far myself. So these are only things that I've heard. But I have.
Well, Aristocracy, you wouldn't know anything about hearsay, would you?
I've heard them from people that I really trust. And so, like, for example, he something that he did was a hearsay, is that he harassed Xanderthal and then contacted Xander's
I love Neanderthal. Yeah, that's my favorite streamer, Neanderthal.
Neanderthal's, I don't know how to pronounce his name probably.
Well, okay, so what happened with Xanderhall?
Oh my god, poor Xanderhall.
So what happened with Xanderhall is, I think him and
you almost got a shout out
were
from
fighting
Eris,
about something.
but no.
And then and Xanderhall was saying in a video that flamenco was all these horrible things, and then flamenco said, basically threatened that he'll like call his mom basically, and he didn't actually.
AKA docs.
Partly because like YouTube.
You're talking about calling somebody's
like,
house.
Flamenco, like don't do that. That's
you're talking like I'm gonna go to your parents.
Sorry,
what the fuck is that?
I didn't realize.
No, yeah, you can curse.
You can't curse on. No cursing.
So you know, like flamenco, don't do that. That's what people who you don't like do. So. I mean, I'm not going to defend everything that he's done in the past. And I can't really speak to who he was before I was friends with him, right? But what I can say about the flamenco that I know now is that he's a paleocon. From what I can tell, he's pretty genuine. He's autistic. He likes anime. He follows VTuber drama for the most part. So
really?
I mean, these are like
that's kind of sketchy.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and he gets very upset when people are making like a caricature of him that isn't him. And you know, he feels like. Yeah, he gets very upset by that, and understandably so, because I get the same way. But I'm not gonna like defend everything that he's done. All I can say is that I'm not flamenco. I am my own person.
Thank God for that. That's like your only. It's like your only saving grace.
And if I see them doing something bad, I'll discourage them from doing it. So
okay, I'll give you an example. So yesterday. Flamenco.
Yeah, this is a Christian Minecraft server. Lest we forget.
He retweeted, basically like complete misinformation about the Buffalo shooting. He's since deleted the tweet to my knowledge, but he like retweeted this thing about the Buffalo shooting actually being like a CIA plant.
Oh God, dude.
And it's like I have friends.
Oh my God,
I have a few friends that are I guess I would call problematic.
No, but don't worry. You know, he's a good guy. He's got a beautiful soul. Hell, I heard he petted a cat once. I think there's pictures. I think I saw pictures of that on Twitter, right? If somebody pets a cat, they couldn't be doing any stalking, right? That's a thing, that cats like just inherently scratch and run away from stalkers. If somebody's actually able to pet a cat, that's definitely proof that they didn't do any stalking.
That have views that I disagree with. I've in the past been associated with people, like I've almost experienced a very similar thing to you, like where people just subscribed my views to like the men that were around me. So I completely understand why that's frustrating. But yeah, but he retweeted that kind of stuff. Like, what do you
I don't think anybody's saying that Stardust is like, you know,
it feels like that's...
I don't think anybody's saying that Stardust is an empty vessel for Flamenco. I think they're just saying that her bringing Flamenco on and normalizing his presence and kind of like confusing the issue of like, you know, right, this person that has, you know, yeah, like Xander Hall tried to do the same thing, and you know, like he almost got doxxed, right? In fact, I think he did get doxxed, and then he had to like move, right? If I remember correctly, allegedly, we gotta always say allegedly when we talk about stuff like that, but yeah, allegedly.
Stuff is, it's more than just, I don't know, like a friend just saying something that's a bit yikesy. Like it feels, especially when he's like a content creator and he's actively changing people's minds, and you're a huge content creator and you're bringing him on publicly, like how do you, like, what do you say to him in a situation like that? Do you try to like change his mind, or do you just kind of, do you just accept that he's just flamenco? That's just like what he does.
Well, I mean, I didn't even see that, honestly, and I can't keep up with everything that he does. I think most people know that I'm like him and I have very opposing viewpoints on a lot of things. Like virtually, I think a lot of, like all of our political views are like opposite of each other. But when it comes to stuff like that, like, yeah, I would push back on it in private with him, you know, but it seems like he already like deleted the tweet, right? So somebody already corrected him or told him that like that's not really appropriate. Did you miss me? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
But yeah, that's something that I would do in private probably.
It's replaying the beginning of the stream. Okay.
I mean, I do it publicly when we're on a show together. But if it's like on Twitter, I don't know. Like I can barely keep up with Twitter as it is. So I didn't even notice that he tweeted something like that. But yeah, I would probably message him privately and say like, hey, maybe you want to take that down.
Is there something that he could do that would be like too much? Because like, I mean, what I just described is somewhat minor. But I don't know, say he, I don't know, like say he actually engaged in a hate crime, or say he justified hate crime. Like, is there like a line in which you'd be like, I don't know if I want to publicly associate myself with this person anymore?
Yeah, I mean, if he had gone through with like calling Xander.
So, I mean, like, just knowing what I know about Aristocracy, she's all about respectability politics in a way that's kind of weird, because it's almost like she uses a respectability politics, like people's tones, things like that, to obfuscate from more substantive matters, like the actual issue, right? And this kind of like, you know, well, is there anything that would make you want to like publicly distance yourself from him? She's concerned not about like, does Stardust hang out with him, but does Stardust publicly acknowledge hanging out with him? And she's more concerned with like, you know, is she perceived as being a friend of his than she is with, is she allowing him access to a platform of people who otherwise probably wouldn't engage with his content, or you know, and like is she you know, aiding the right basically by engaging with him and platforming him, right? That stuff just does not come up. It's not part of the consideration, right? Because I mean that's you know what she's all about. She, you know, she feigns kind of empathy and, you know, concern and the desire to, you know, for mutual understanding, on a very, you know, respectability sort of level, but meanwhile, you know, she's just willing to endorse monstrous things. She's willing to run interference for dangerous people, and she's willing to, you know, attack people who don't have any way to fight back. And that's who she is. So it's almost makes her like scarier, the fact that she's got this veneer of empathy, right? Because having dealt with aristocracy before, I know what's underneath that veneer, and it's got nothing to do with empathy.
Hall's mom, I would have been like,
I thought he did call Sandra Hall's mom. Like, I thought he did try to contact
he
her.
He threatened to, but he didn't actually. So if he did that, I would probably, you know, I don't know. I would, you know, say that that's really cringe, and I
Super
probably
cringe.
wouldn't associate with him as
okay,
much.
probably okay, as much.
In a
my
friendly manner, at
god,
least.
she can't say
a lot of
she can't
also
say
though,
it.
like the people that I talk to, I have more like of a coworker relationship with, or like an associate relationship with. So Flamenco is somebody I'm friends with, but like there are a lot of people that
there we go
who have opposing views.
That's the clip right there.
To me that I'm friendly with, but I'm not friends with, and I disagree with. Like, yeah,
that dynamic that you just described now is something that I wish viewers in general would understand a little more.
The cows are cute.
Or even just like Twitter people.
Oh, I didn't even see the cows. The cows are great.
At the end of the day, a lot of us are coworkers. So even if like when you like technically associate with someone or you're friendly with someone, it doesn't actually like mean anything personal a lot of the times. Like a lot of times it's just kind of almost like an armistice agreement, like, oh, we're just not going to go after each other. It doesn't mean that they're...
So this is what she's saying about her, like, you know, streamer friends. She's saying this is at most an armistice. Oh my god, Eris, you're scary as fuck.
There's tons of disagreement. There aren't tons of disagreement, or even that you privately don't like them. There's a few people privately I don't like that I just like do not want to, because fucking online Twitch drama in the public sphere is not fun. Like, I don't know how you feel, but it's something that really stresses me out.
It's not, and actually, in fact, like, if you think
I wonder
the
who
online
she's
Twitch
talking
drama
about,
is bad,
chat.
like the far right, the dissident right, the drama with them right now is like imploding, and so that's why I'm very careful with like, you know, I don't want to say anything, you know, because people are like flagging each other and DMCAing each other, and you know, I'm just kind of like staying kind of distant from that, maintaining friendliness with everybody, politeness.
So she's not going to get involved in the far right drama because somebody could catch a flag? I don't know.
With everybody, but it would be impossible for me to, every single time somebody says something that is that I disagree with, it would be impossible for me to reach out and publicly disagrly with every single thing, because there's so many people that I interact with that I disagree with, and to just all the time at all times be on.
And she's also doing an all or nothing argument here. It's not about that, like, you can't like hang around with somebody that you disagree with on a few issues. I mean, I hang around with a lot of people that I disagree with, like Ninetales and Yamato. We don't agree on everything, but like, I mean, that's a big difference between, you know, Ninetales or Yamato and like Nick Fuentes or Flamenco. With Nick Fuentes and Flamenco, I disagree so vehemently by on so many like really important things that it's like it wouldn't even be a thought to me. But I'm not thinking with content brain, I guess, and that's my problem.
The lookout and constantly
Your dad calls them
chickens in a public
chickens?
manner, it just really would be impossible.
Well, I think people on the left are people can
That
be
is
so
quirky.
in their bubble.
That's really quirky.
About the toxicity that they see in the left, and there's definitely a lot of toxicity.
Oh
but
man,
it's like
the online left. Don't get me started. The online left,
happening, especially on like the alt-right kind of side of the internet. There is
The
like
dissident
heroes
right
and
now is-
villains, and there's counter like.
Oh, I didn't realize that Aristocracy kept you know, track of the alt-right so much.
there's people like there's new
You're being compared to Yamato? Oh wow, Irene, what did I do to deserve
nuance
that?
within those groups. And they and they're
But like, I mean, she's acting like people are expecting her to like disavow anybody that doesn't completely agree with her. And it's like, if you disagree with like Flamenco and Fuentes so much, like, why are you hanging around them? And she's gonna get into that maybe later. We're gonna get a little hint. And like, sometimes with these people, that's all you get is like a hint of like, you know, what might be the real reason. You can't tell, and I try not to ascribe intent to anybody. So in saying this, like I've mentioned before, I'm not going to talk about like, you know, what her ideology is, whether she actually supports far right shit or not. Some people think she does. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's the issue. I think the problem is what she does with her platform. And if her platform is helping the far right, then it kind of doesn't matter where her, you know, heart is at, because her, you know, the actions that she's taking are actions that are harmful in that case, right? So yeah, I'm trying not to get into that argument about intent, because it's so easy to do. And once you do that, you're in parasocial land. If you hate Stardust so much that you think you know that Stardust supports this, and this, even though she's never said it, you know, I mean, I don't think that's that's not a great analysis, and that's not an analysis I'm trying to make. But you can tell, you know, what the effect of her platform is. You can tell in general what the effect of Twitch poll has been on the platform, and it's not good.
There's lots of drama that goes on, and a lot of toxicity, and
well,
sometimes
you know,
like the closer you are to it, the just natural, like you're more likely to become a victim.
Yeah, you're right. It's unfair to compare you to Yamato, considering all the drama Yamato starts.
Of some of the shit that's going on.
So one thing, that's the thing. Like, with the like dissident right, like I'm already like a liberal woman, like brown woman, you know, who interacts with that space. So
and a feminist.
I kind of am trying to be distant from that, because as soon as I indicate that I'm taking a side one way or the other, I feel like it's just going to be really bad for me. I would rather just kind of maintain, like, they know I disagree with them. They know I disagree with certain things, you know, they know I disagree with a significant amount of their stuff. But as far as their infighting and all of that, that's like the most toxic stuff I'd ever seen. It's more toxic than Twitch drama by far. So
it seems
I don't know.
like
Is he in here to like
with
to disagree with that analysis?
Who you criticize and how much you criticize in a public
way.
No,
I think
because of.
I think that Yamato would say that Irene is the source of all drama.
Like personal safety issues. That's the
drama,
like,
just
somewhat of an impression that I'm getting.
A little bit, yeah, definitely, because you know, people are getting swatted.
Drama
right
just
now,
finds me.
Seeing each other right now, so if I'm on a panel with people and and the point of that panel is to talk about politics and disagree with each other, I'm very happy to do that. I'm very happy to disagree like vehemently with everybody. I'm very happy to yell at anybody. I've yelled at Nick Fuentes when I had him on when he jumped onto my show. I yelled at him as well, but like that's in a specific setting with the specific, like, we know what we're there for. Outside of that, like, I don't comment on any of the infighting. Maybe
if you make yourself an enemy, it's like, you'd end up getting targeted way more, because the way this world works is that, like, if you're closer to them, like they probably don't care about random Twitter lefties just like, I don't know, like saying how much they hate Nazis. But if there's someone that like associated with someone who's associating, like, it's somewhat closer, and they say something, you almost feel like that person's more in danger because they're just closer.
So understand who's saying this. This is somebody who started out her career or her notoriety on the internet on Doobie's server with a lot of far-right people, right? So she fits the description of someone the far right is aware of. So it sounds like, you know, maybe this is like a low-key way of saying that she's somewhat, you know, that she's got to make some compromises as well. I don't know, Chad. I don't want to read too much into, you know, what's being said, but I do get that kind of feeling, right? The way that she's like, I mean, like the description of somebody that the far right knows about, it definitely fits her. They are aware of her, and so if somebody like that has to be really careful about what enemies they choose, that tells you that she's too compromised to, you know, call out like, all right, bullshit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you see where that like kind of leaves you as an audience of a streamer? Of like, well, I'm just gonna have to have this blind spot because it's too fucking dangerous to, you know,
right,
actually criticize people like Doobie.
Yeah. So I don't want to like make myself into like a victim or anything like that. But yeah, it's just like I'm trying to be kind of careful with how I interact with people on that side. If I take a side on and on any of that stuff, I don't want to, because they're more horrible to each other than they are to people outside their group.
Yeah. Do you at least understand why people like would feel frustrated with, I guess, say,
you went hard on
how
Doobie.
often you do talk to Nazis and all of that kind of stuff, because like, you know, because of how objectively dangerous their views are.
I understand it. I understand that they don't like me talking to radicals, but like one thing that people don't know is that early on when I first started streaming, before I was on...
Okay, so I'm just noticing this. I heard her reframe like Nazis twice. Once to right-wing dissidents or something like that. What did she say? Right? I thought it was like right-wing dissidents. And this time, what did... The radicals. Right-wing radicals, right? So she's kind of like punk rockifying the right, you know? They're not chuds. They're dissidents and radicals. They're the true
Twitch
counterculture. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you know where this comes from? Do you know where the concept of the right wing being the true modern day counterculture comes from?
I initially started off arguing with like fundamentalist Muslim men. And fundamentalist Muslim men are very, very conservative.
Right-wing invading radicals.
They're not that different from the alt-right, like in all reality.
Yeah.
I have had the most mind-boggling arguments with some of those
maybe
people.
Out of fear.
So if I'm supposed to disassociate with people who are on...
That has been said by some sussy bakas, true.
And not talk to them because of their beliefs. Like, you're telling me that I can't talk to people even from my own background. Because there are...
No, we're saying that we don't want to support you talking to people that are Nazis and shit. Right? That's what you're getting, right? You're getting internet criticism of the effect of your platform in like normalizing some really right-wing people and effectively pulling the discourse to the right. At the very least, you have to grant that, even if you're going to make this argument, which she does, that her mere presence amongst right-wingers is in some way humanizing marginalized people, or at least, you know, the aspects of her identity that are marginalized are being humanized to these right-wingers, right? You know, that's kind of where she's resting this all on, right? That's her, you know, that's her shtick.
Are going to be some people from my own background who are very, very backwards.
Yeah. Fascists have always tried to do that.
I've had arguments about FGM. I had to argue with one of these men about
and
why
the fucked up thing is, if you spend this much time with the far right, you're gonna have some brain worms. Now, I'm not saying that in an ableist way. I'm not saying your brain is addled or something like that. I'm talking about you're gonna contract some like unconscious beliefs that are in parallel with the far right. That is what happens when you have contact with them. Because like it seems like Stardust, all you're thinking about is their contact with you, and you're not understanding that it's a two-way street. Like, I don't know if that thing that you just said was an example of brainworms. Oh my god, it's the drama meister himself, Black Yamato. Governor DeSantis just made it illegal to protest outside of elected official houses in Florida. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Governor DeSantis right now is trying to position himself to run against Donald Trump in the 2024 election, right? He wants to either be able to be more Trump than Trump, or you know, maybe Trump won't even run, right? But he's definitely vying for that ultra right-wing vote through stuff like this.
Is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
the right wing? Are you calling him a right winger? Oh no!
So I think.
Oh no! It's the night of a million shit posts.
The fact that I had to like actually argue with somebody that FGM was bad.
Anybody know what that is? FGM.
People on
I don't know.
The dissident right aren't really that scary to me.
Like it almost seems like you've kind of been so hardened by it that like what other people see as problematic and like too like where other people would put that line that's too much, like your line is a little higher, and
we should just understand you because of tolerance,
you know,
and the paradoxes thereof
with you know, with Islam and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then even like again early on in my streaming career, like, you know, I did argue with a significant amount of like older conservative Muslim men, and I made a lot of them angry, and I'm very lucky that none of them put like a fatwa on my head or something like that, you know, like so I'm not even kidding. I made a couple of them very, very, very mad with me.
Okay, I get it. So you subscribed before on Twitch and it didn't make the noise, and now you're subscribing on YouTube and it does make the noise. Interesting that. Meow.
In that community. Like
there
to
are.
this day, the largest group that targets me is like these like Muslim Turkish nationalists or fascists. Like that's that's a group that just hates me. So
yeah. And no, I mean like people were telling me before I got involved in arguing with people.
And chat, I say this as someone. Wait, Dweeb Chan's here? Hey, Dweeb Chan. Why do I not see you? I'm not seeing all the chat. Oh, there you are. Oh, that's what FGM is. I see. I don't know why people aren't. Oh, there you are. Yeah. So, oh my God, what the fuck was I just gonna say? Oh, I completely.
People in that community, like you have to be careful. Like some of these people, like are terrorists, you know. And so you know that like after that, like I'm really not like I had a guy who would follow me around whenever I live streamed and scream that scream about me calling his prophet a pedophile, which I never did, by the way. I never did that. But he would scream about it. And that was like around while I was arguing with other Muslims. So it would poison the well. After that, that was very stressful for me. But after that, I think I'm pretty unfazed by a lot of things.
Do you ever worry though, like that even if these like the reasons why you're engaging with them, like even the reasons why you're unfazed by it are like understandable, do you ever worry about like at the end of the day that you're not like this private person on Discord just having these private conversations? You're like a public figure. You're a streamer that a ton of people know about and all of this stuff. So do you ever worry about like the consequences of, say, talking to these people in such a public way, introducing them to a lot of people, especially when they've been kind of, say, delegitimized or deplatformed everywhere and otherwise people wouldn't know about them? Like, what if one person changes their mind and gets converted because they watched one of your streams?
So I don't think my audience is stupid enough to get converted by one stream, but at the same time, I do provide pushback. I do provide remarks that are like, hey, this is contradictory. And a lot of the time these people.
And that's like all she thinks that's needed. It's just somebody on the stream with the race realist, with the transphobe to say, nah. And it's like, okay, well, there's pushback. So I guess we're cool. I don't know if we're cool.
People that I'm interacting with have significantly larger audiences than I do. So if anything, I don't feel that I'm platforming them. They are platforming.
Good point, Max.
And a lot of the time, because of the way that my demeanor is.
There's a second excuse. The second excuse is that these people actually have a larger platform than I do. So by the exchange, conceptual ratio, anyone from my audience that's radicalized to the right, I'm going to radicalize more to the left because there's more in their audience than there are in my audience, right? And that is so unnuanced. That is steamrolling right over so many important variables that determine, you know, kind of like, right? I mean, you say that you can hold your own in a debate against fascists, right? This is the Foch thing of like, if you can bury their nose in the dirt, right? Then you're good, right? If you show them to be a fool in front of their own audience, right? And she's just kind of saying, if you give them a fight, if you don't get pushed around, you got to do some pushback. Hey, you said the racist thing. I don't think racism is right. What do you think about that, mister? Right? And there you're good. You're good. You're covered. There's been some pushback. Somebody has, you know, they didn't just get to say that on your stream, like, you know, with it's like, I think naive is like the best interpretation of what this is.
The way that I interact with them, if they're too rude to me, I end up making them look bad, and I'll have people from their chats come over and say like, "Oh, that was so wrong. They shouldn't have treated you that way." So there is a strategy to it. You know, it's not perfect. But I think in the long run, I've had a lot of people.
Oh yeah, what I was going to tell you, yeah, it is. You're right, Dweeb Chan. It is hard not to feel a bit bad for people like this, right? Because like there but for fortune, that's actually kind of true. Like Chad, I mean, like I had my own experience with, you know, people trying to come into my community and you know, kind of put some kind of you know, dangle some TTTT brainworms out in front of me, right? And you know, I wasn't super savvy about like those talking points and how they worked, how those kind of people will like love bomb you and then talk you up and talk about how you're so pretty and you're not like the other trans girls. And then, you know, that feels pretty good for somebody that hasn't had a lot of validation in their life, right? So it is understandable. But then the second part is, and these trans people over here, not so much. I've had to purge this element from my own community. So I believe me, I know, like, you know, that people can sort of fall into this stuff without realizing what they're doing. And before they know it, they're hurting their own community. So yeah, I mean, there's some empathy, but understand that, like, you know, before empathy has to come self-defense of your own community, right? And if people in your own community are doing harm to your community, that is not something you can let go. That is not something that you can fail to fight. Eris tried to love bomb you? Yeah.
My content has been exposed to a lot of people in those spaces. And yeah, I think being able to humanize myself before a bunch of people that are isolated. So there it is, yeah. A very large audience that feels isolated, I think is super important.
One other reason, so I actually used to do something similar to what you do, where I used to talk to a ton of
So what she's saying is you can become a character in the minds of the right wing, and they might not like the character at first. They might disagree with what the character says, right? Because, you know, ostensibly you're, you know, touting, you know, you're speaking against racism. They are pro-racism. You know, they're not going to like that. But eventually you will take up a place in their minds and in their hearts where it becomes hard for them to like dehumanize you and say, oh yeah, fuck that person, right? And where they got to say, well, no, you know, like I you know, care about her, right? And that might keep you from getting like hate rated or something like that. But your mistake is thinking that it helps like marginalized people. It doesn't. They can absolutely have empathy for individual, you know, social media personalities. They can be parasocial for people who might be marginalized in a way that they're bigoted against and still remain bigoted against that group. It happens all the fucking time. There are so many people on the right wing that their whole thing is to, you know, they're marginalized in this way, they're marginalized in that way, like Blair White, you know, and they run cover for conservatism as far as like with Blair White, as far as facing up to its own transphobia. Right? Blair White will run cover, will run interference for that, right?
At the time, I hid that I was Jewish because I couldn't even imagine being able to talk to them with them thinking I was Jewish. That's like, obviously you don't have the ability to do that in your situation. And so I would talk to them and I would try to convert them and humanize Jews and like all this kind of stuff. It just got exhausting. Like I think
I mean, like right-wingers, racists can love certain characters on media that are marginalized, right? They can really even empathize with them and you know, have warm feelings to them. Oh my God, this is famous from the South, right? There's all kinds of characters in the South. If you look at, for instance, the Disney property that they never want to let get shown again, that they're always trying to pretend it never happened, but they made something called Song of the South. You know, that is an example of a black person who racist white people would feel very warm towards. And that warmth did not translate into lowering their bigotry, into stopping being racist, right? It was shallow. It was meaningless, you know? It's like just feels in a movie. And that's all that can be, you know, in terms of this platform, right? You think you can like imprint some kind of like, you know, seed of anti-racism on these people just by being on the streams of their favorite content creators. I'm going to have to press X to doubt. Tom Metzger no, I don't.
I changed a few minds, but it was like,
but yeah, there's so many examples of this.
It was hearing the same arguments over and over again and putting myself and just having to associate
like literally
with
thinks that you can overcome racism with the power of parasociality. X to doubt.
Because there's always like this weird, it's like the 6 degrees of separation. Like you associate maybe more with like the nicer of the Nazi, but then like he's connected to somewhat a more extreme Nazi who's connected to a psycho Nazi, and and so therefore that psycho Nazi now knows who you are, and you're just like in that realm. And I just wanted to completely leave it. It was just scary constantly being in that world. It was stressful, and like obviously it was exhausting.
Oh, is that what she said? Everyone loves me. That's my superpower.
Too. I just like wonder like how long do you think? Is it exhausting for you? Like, do you think that you can keep this up for a long time?
I think I can. I think I get more exhausted if I'm like fighting with multiple communities at the same time. So if I'm getting hated from 3 communities at the same time, that can be exhausting for me. And I'm very lucky to have like mods and friends who will reaffirm me and tell me that
you're
like
paraphrasing.
I'm in the right place. Okay. And I that burnout goes away. So I understand what you're saying. There is some burnout that can come, especially when you feel like you've put so much effort into these conversations, and then you feel like nobody talks to you or treats you like an adult. Nobody takes you seriously. Nobody thinks you're. Basically, everybody infantilizes you. I think that can be more frustrating for me than even like arguing with people with these crazy beliefs a lot of the time. Like I said, like after arguing with like a bunch of like fundy Muslim men and like growing up with that and growing up being stigmatized.
There's big I can fix him vibes. I don't know who came up with the myth that marginalized people should throw themselves at bigots and hope they can hope away the bigotry. But the number of people falling in that pitfall is depressing. Yeah, I mean, like people talk about, like, you know, if you watched my debate on Ninetales, it was brought up the idea of the contact hypothesis. That's basically what Stardust is, you know, resting her case on, right? Is it that like, well, I'm bringing more people into contact with me, and that's got to, you know, it's almost like you're thinking of racism as a phobia, And the way that phobias are sometimes treated is through like exposure therapy. So you're afraid of spiders? Okay, we're going to show you a picture of a spider. You don't like that, but you know, maybe after a while of sitting with the picture, you can be okay with the picture. All right, next, we're going to show you video of a spider. All right, that's a little bit more creepy. I'm not sure if I'm okay with that. Okay, let's try it some more. Let's try it some more. Eventually, you can handle the video of the spider. Now, you know, we're going to show you a spider in a cage, right? Okay, that's an actual spider in an actual cage. It creeps me the fuck out. But if, you know, it's like that you know, idea applied to racism, and it sounds ridiculous.
It's just because of things I
It sounds like something that wouldn't be taken seriously, but it is.
I think my tolerance is a lot higher than the average person. If I were burned out, I wouldn't have like made it through my life, I think. So
yeah, exposure therapy. Is it called exposure therapy or?
I think I have a very high tolerance, and what really actually does burn me out is this kind of people misconstruing me and misconstruing my character.
So
criticism.
Do you understand, like,
Cool.
do you have empathy for the people whose tolerance is lower than yours? Because
Oh,
it
of
seems like,
course, yeah.
because your tolerance it's kind of crazy high. Like, it's like amazing that you're able to tolerate that stuff.
You're so good at tolerating.
But I would say the majority
You're very
of
tolerant.
people would not be able to tolerate that. Like,
Unbelievably
to that
tolerant.
level. And I can only handle a year of doing it.
I definitely empathize with people who can't handle it. And even I think initially when I was getting like hate rated by groypers.
Yeah. So what she's using that for, though, is to justify like having Fuentes on and flamenco, right? So I'm going to expose the racists in those audiences to me, and they will no longer be ignorant, and they will have contact with me. And if you really take that argument, that argument to its extreme, you'd have to apply it to me too and say that by not talking to transphobes, I am hurting trans rights. By denying an opportunity to get them more used to my presence, to get them to see me as a person, to give them contact so that they're no longer ignorant, right? If you really take that argument to its logical conclusion, it just gets ridiculous. It blows up in your face and it makes you look a little silly, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's just something that, and that's not what I'm about. I'm not about like having those moments in debates where I make somebody look a little silly, as you know, cathartic as that can be sometimes. And as many people as like, you know, deserve it, I feel like we don't learn as much when we are shamed into doing that. So I'm going to resist that
a couple of my
impulse
mods
here.
got really upset by some of the stuff that they saw. And so I completely understand other people not having that tolerance. You know, you do have to decompress. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know I'm not like a normal person. I'm a little bit crazy for doing what I'm doing, but I don't expect anybody to do what I do. I think that there are multiple ways to be successful online. There are multiple ways to make a difference. And it doesn't.
Care Bears, where did you hear that word? Is that something you heard from Ask Vera? That's an interesting phrase, actually. I have a unique history with that phrase. I used to say it. I don't really say it as much anymore because I've become convinced that the excesses on the intersectional left don't actually come from over concern with social justice or, you know, some sort of a puritanical, like, you know, leftist beliefs, but rather mainly stem from the same social hierarchies which beset the debate sphere, right? So it's kind of like the same problem in the intersectional left, where you've got people that will utilize the, you know, it's at times the language of social justice in order to enact, you know, their own interpersonal beef on each other. And there's a lot of examples of that, unfortunately, in the left on Twitch. So I'm not, you know, claiming that the left is perfect either. But yeah, I stopped calling those people Care Bears because it kind of implies that they care more about social justice than the rest of us. And I don't actually think that's true. I think the problem with them is that they're trying to build their own social power and use it to oppress others, right? Use it to create these little petty tyrannies, and that's why their communities are largely miserable and don't grow, right? That's, definitely a problem with that. But yeah, I stopped using Vera's term after a while.
It doesn't have to be the way that I'm doing things.
And who knows,
maybe I'm not doing everything right. Maybe I'll make changes in the future.
Top of the dome.
I know I have made changes already, but
is there anything?
It's not for everybody.
Is there anything in particular that you kind of like regret doing? Like any mistakes?
I think a huge thing.
Trying to use parasocial personalities to win over bigots. At a certain
point, when you first talk to some people, their instinct is to disrespect you. And I think that
they're more like bullies, not Care Bears.
You have to start putting boundaries down, and say like, hey, like we're having a conversation. I know I make you content. I know that you. Oh
my god, this Minecraft music is almost too chill.
Laughs out of your audience with me, but at a certain point, we now have to have a serious conversation, and you need to treat me with respect. And I think that one thing that I'm doing is
what are popples?
I have to reach that point much sooner. Obviously there's a point where I build rapport with somebody. Like initially I build rapport with some of these people and then I demand the respect. I think I just need to start doing it a little bit quicker. So.
I don't know if it starts off with them laughing at their audiences laughing at you like that really worries me. Right? That's not, I don't know.
What about
she's gotta be familiar with the model of harassment used by places like the Kentucky Fried website. Like she's got to be, knowing flamenco, she's got to be familiar with that, right? And like they are famous for, laughing at people and using that to dehumanize them, right? That's not exactly a great sign of success.
There are different levels. I always say that there are different levels of Nazi.
And I am legitimately concerned for her, just so in case that's not clear.
Or the alt-right, or whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. And there are some that are really unsophisticated, like the guy who did the shooting yesterday, who's just like a complete dumbass. And then there are some that are very smart, sophisticated, they know what they're doing. And you have to be very prepared, in my opinion, to be able to counter them effectively. Otherwise, they can come out looking like they won the debate, and therefore their ideas are correct, and therefore you should subscribe.
Yeah.
So, like, do you ever?
I don't disagree with that.
Like, before you engage in these before you talk to one of them, that you feel like, do you ever feel like unprepared? Like how to handle the more sophisticated types, like say a Nick Fuentes.
I think I'm actually.
Wait, was Nick one of the unsophisticated or the sophisticated?
Like that. So I interviewed Richard Spencer yesterday, and I think my strategy with people like that is to kind of deep dive into their emotions. So one of the things that I did.
Bitch, please tell me you're not playing Dream Drop Distance with Richard Spencer.
Did with him is I was doing an interview.
Oh my god!
I think one of the things is I brought up that do you think you lost control of the alt-right? And he said yeah. And I said, how does it feel to now have your biggest enemies be part of the alt-right?
Yeah, basically, big man.
To see somebody like Nick Fuentes, who is successful, who's achieved levels of success that you never were able to. How does it feel to be abandoned by this group that you put years of your work into? And I think like questions like that are kind of what can put me.
Popples are a stuffed animal that can curl up in a ball and pop out. They're kind of like a knockoff of Care Bears, but with a gimmick. Oh, so they're squishy. You can squish them down? I had both as a kid, and Popples were just more fun. Was she hyping up Fuentes? Yeah, kind of. That's that. He never had control of it to begin with.
Yeah, kind of ahead. So I think it's questions like that kind of put me ahead. I'm not always debating these people. Sometimes I'm just having a conversation with them.
Sometimes you're just kind of chilling with them.
That's problematic, particularly like if you're gonna. I know you say that you're not platforming them, but talking to them is still somewhat legitimizing. And even if their audience is larger than you. So if you're going to talk to them, why, like, if you're not talking to them in a very critical kind of form where you're criticizing their ideas, you could potentially be
credit to Aristocracy for asking. This is a question I would have asked.
Normalizing them and then normalizing their ideas.
But I'm not sure. I feel like
it'll start their.
I feel like she's just kind of like with the whole thing about her, like, well, you know, I'm not like actually saying it. I'm just giving voice to an opinion that someone might have. I don't know if this is her giving voice to an opinion that someone might have, or if this is her opinion, because she seems to just like play Schrodinger's douchebag on this stuff. If it works out for her, she'll claim it. If it blows up in her face, she's like, no, I was just saying, like, this is what the average Israeli thinks. This isn't what I think. No. Yeah, she's just really
ideas will start
non-committal like that,
right? And more people will start converting to them as we.
Yeah, she admits she doesn't push back. She just platforms.
I can definitely see that. I think that the way that I conduct myself in some of these interviews is with that interview specifically was meant to understand why he believes what he, first off, understand what does he believe? Secondly, why does he believe what he believes? And thirdly, like, where is he now in his career? I do plan on doing more pushback with him, but like yesterday,
I almost thought she said plushback.
Exploring, like,
so she actually did go ahead and talk to him.
You failed. Like, how did that make you feel? To fail to somebody so much younger than you, to fail to somebody who has wrongly accused you of things.
She like trying to make a case that she like psychologically destroyed him.
How did it feel to have that recording?
Like, dude got punched in the face.
That Fuentes should be mowing your lawn.
Dude got punched.
Like these, like I think that these are things that put people in perspective. Sexual. He maybe like seems like a scary guy to a lot of people.
You think?
Like the reality of the situation is.
Oh my God.
He lost control of that.
Stardust, have you not heard his hot mics? Like I know you're all about your NCC hot mics. Have you not heard Richard Spencer's hot mics?
That movement.
They're a little bit worse than mine.
And that movement now that movement is now some of his biggest enemies. So
yeah, but they're not his biggest enemies because he like has changed his mind with his ideology. He still believes in.
It doesn't matter though.
Objectively untrue things and stuff, right?
He does. He still believes he's still a racial supremacist, all of that. But I think it's not at that point. It's more. I think that drawing attention to the fact that one, he's not in control of that movement, and two, like, even when he was in control, he didn't take it nearly as far as Fuentes did. I think that
she does sound like Fuentes' hype woman here.
I know that it's not because people on that side are not his biggest enemies.
He's led to people dying?
Well, actually, they are. Some of his beliefs, like he believes in the vaccine. That they virtue signal with each other about whether they've gotten the vaccine or not. And the very fact that Spencer's gotten vaccinated actually is a huge thing for them. They think like that he's cringe because of it. But yeah, I think that illuminating where there's infighting as well, illuminating where these people are not as cohesive as you think they are, So yeah, just learning about why they believe the things that they believe, how they've changed over time as well. So
well, I think one of the problems sometimes is like when you're having a lot of these conversations, you're going to have you're going to have some overlap, right? With like audiences, just in general. Yeah. Just me having this conversation with you, I'm going to have some overlap.
I mean, if you got overlap with Richard Spencer and Nick Fuentes, you have problems, and doing the shit that Stardust does will give you that like thing. I mean, like, here's the thing too, like Stardust, if you pick up brainworms from these people, like, you might unconsciously signal that you're one of them. I'm serious about that, right? Some of the dog whistles like might seem kind of just like memes and stuff, right? Like, if you're picking up memes from these people, like, I don't know, you could be signaling that you're one of them without meaning to, right? And like, yeah, then you get a crossover with that audience, and I don't think that's a crossover you want. Jeez, that is scary as fuck.
Overlap with your audience. Maybe I'll get some members of your audience to start hopping in my streams, and you'll get some of my audience, etc. And I like, you know, hopefully that's a good thing. But with, you know, nefarious personalities like a Nick Fuentes or any of these like alt-right type.
I mean,
people,
she's calling him nefarious, but she's like kind of like with the laugh in her voice. It kind of sends a signal of like they're not that serious.
Are going to naturally push other people out, right?
Okay.
I don't think so. I think if we keep a really tight
ship in the community, aristocracy
I think
interview.
that people will fall in the line. So one thing is, I did get a decent amount of people who would jump over from like my streams where I would like talk to people like that. And if they misbehaved a certain way, they're gone. They know immediately like what the rules are in my community, and I'm not willing to sacrifice my existing members for members who don't respect the environment. So I think you do have to run a tight ship with that, and I think my mods are really good at that.
I feel like even if you have the best mods in the world, there's only so much you can control, like with just like being, I don't know, like just associations, like, and this is why if we can tie this back to the initial.
Okay, now I'm actually curious who her mods are. Maybe I know some of them.
Drama with the Keffals situation, that there's like while I wouldn't subscribe that to you.
So this is what you came for. This is the talk of the Keffals situation from Stardust. Again, Keffals did a VOD like last night talking about this, and she took it down, so I'm gonna respect that. And if she doesn't want it out, I'm not gonna like promulgate it. What is it called? Proliferate. That's what it's called. I'm not gonna proliferate a VOD that Keffals doesn't want up. We could watch a little bit of Stardust VOD, because apparently Stardust was watching Keffals, and people said it was kind of creepy. People said it was kind of, I hate to say this, Stardust, but people said you're kind of looking creepy, right?
Personally, there's tons of people that I don't associate
like,
with, not
creepier than you were having Mr. Girl on creepy.
Them,
that kind of creepy.
Who they associate with, and I just don't want to go near it. It's almost like yeah, it's because I just know how social stuff works, and it's almost like an STI, you know, like where like you feel bad for the other person, but you don't want to get the STI, you know, you don't want to, if you go near, it's like nuclear. And so it like, because I'm sure that there's some overlap and there's some groyper type people in your audience and all that kind of stuff, it just like would make sense like why someone just doesn't want to.
I have no problem with people not wanting to associate with me. I just didn't, I don't know why she had to like draw attention to me. And why all of her mods were like
the Stardust VOD?
My stream. I understand not wanting to
somebody take a look at it and just find like a section.
Like, I think you're underestimating
I'm not trying to watch
your chat. If you put on slow mode, if you.
So here's the deal. I'm not trying to like watch Keffals VOD. Like I get the feeling that Keffals like, you know, privated that thing for a reason, and I'm trying to respect that. I know that she's going through a lot, and I don't want to contribute to any sort of harassment by somebody getting the VOD secondhand from me. So if anybody can find, you know, just like a good timestamp where we can get an idea of what Stardust was doing that night without like really just, you know, completely, you know, I don't know.
If you have like a bunch of precautions,
I don't make sense either. Nightingales,
people learn very quickly what's accepted and what's not accepted.
I don't make sense either.
Very quickly when we've got new people who are of a certain type in there, and if they don't respect the rules. I do have people who come over from other audiences that are unsavory audiences who've learned very quickly what is acceptable and what's not acceptable, and for the most part they have behaved, but if there are people who are unruly, if there are people who are nefarious, they get outed pretty quickly, and again, I don't.
Why do I just want to say nefarious?
Expect anybody to feel obligated to associate with me. I think that people should make the choices that they want to. I have no problem with that. But
okay, so
I just don't.
Here's the deal. Like, Stardust, if you end up watching this, right? I'm not like angry at you. I'm not going off on you here or anything like this. But the reason that some people might be frustrated is like more than just like they want to control what you do with your content, right? It's that when you do certain kinds of content, like what you're doing with Nick but with Booger Nick and Richard Spencer, right? You kind of bring certain kinds of people onto Twitch. Now they might go into your chat to begin with, but they don't stay in your chat. And the more of that shit that gets, you know, turned into content on Twitch, the more of those people are around. That, I think, is what people don't appreciate, right? Is that you're actually kind of just like you're fucking over more than just yourself, I guess, Stardust, is what I would say.
Understand why she
why
she had to like watch it and then be seething at me while she's watching it. If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, so I actually think that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Vamps. That's like a tall order. Basically, a clip that encapsulates everything that's going on in a short time. Yeah, that's not too much to ask for. It's totally different than a lot. I'm just the moon. Just the moon. That's all.
What they thought you were upset about. So that's like.
I'm not upset. Yeah,
and maybe a couple stars.
I'm not upset at all.
You felt like she had every right to not come on the panel.
100%.
And you understand, and you totally understand like why someone doesn't want to be, why someone's anxious about to be around, you know, people who've been around groypers and all of that stuff, and it totally makes sense for her, especially.
100%.
Yeah,
I understand.
So it was just
100%.
it was the other behavior associated.
It was the other behavior. It was her one.
Oh, dude, she was honk posting, but wait, wasn't she also doing the N-word trees? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't want to misspeak, right? I'm not trying to accuse her of doing something that maybe it was just Sansoy and people like that were doing. But I could have sworn I saw her in one of those screenshots of they each type out one letter of the N-word, because it's very clever. It's a very clever way to post on Twitter, and I guess you don't get banned for it or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of cringe.
It was so I was in the middle of this panel, and somebody messaged me that Keffals is watching the panel and she's really mad with you. And so already that's kind of like intimidating and
you're intimidated by
and
Keffals.
Overwhelming, right? I don't need anybody to like associate with me.
I mean, I know Keffals is really big now, but like just like the idea of being like intimidated by Wiggle Wiggle, that's I find that funny.
Or choose to be on a panel because
Wiggle
I'm
Wiggle.
there. I don't need any of
Wiggle
that.
Wiggle.
What was kind of distressing for me is that now she's watching the panel. I'm hearing that she's talking about me, and that she's mocking me, and
with a
that her
very large audience.
And her chat is now mocking me.
Anyway, they
also
can break
see
TOS.
that her, she's made a subtweet about me, which is already drawing attention to me. So I quote tweeted that.
I mean,
and then
she made a tweet saying that she didn't go on the panel. I mean, I guess it's a subtweet. Here's the thing, Sansoy and Stardust both kind of fuck with Flamenco. So it could have been either of you, right? Could have been either of you that were the reason that so maybe she subtweeted you, but that's the thing about a subtweet, Stardust, and that's the reason that you don't reply to a subtweet, right? Is because it's done with plausible deniability, and you can kind of look stupid when there's an equal chance that it could have been Sansoy.
Reply to me saying like it's funny, you know who you are.
Oh, the N-word trees. I don't know.
But I mean,
I haven't seen anybody get banned for them.
What am I supposed to do? You know, it's just that I have no problem if she doesn't want to.
I never saw CTV do any N-word trees.
100%. That is,
or participate
keep yourself safe.
In any of that.
But why are you directing all of this negative attention to me when you should know?
So
that
yeah,
I
mean,
have a lot of negative attention that's directed towards me.
But Stardust, why were you directing negative attention towards me when you already knew I had so much negative attention directed towards me? Ooh woo. Why don't you care about trans people, Stardust? All I was doing was standing up for trans people. This is the thing, you're so hard to take seriously when you're so fucking hypocritical. And I know that like you think it's endearing, but maybe less so than you think, right? Everybody, you know, your superpower, if your superpower is that everybody loves you, I'm not sure everybody loves that. about you.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's your strongest.
This is one of my criticisms for Keffals, and in general, right, is that I feel like she sometimes doesn't think about the consequences of how she talks about people, of the claims she makes about people.
Oh, why Keffals? Because of CTV. Oh, no. So here's the deal. CTV, I don't think was scheduled for it. I don't think CTV was scheduled to go on. CTV's just Dylan's friend, and he kind of showed up, and it's like that because intellectual capture. You imagine being intellectually captured by CTV. That's what I saw. I saw the true puppet master of Twitch politics, Confederate thinking television, just control Dylan, just absolutely control the man, right? And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as somebody who used to work with Dylan. It's embarrassing to see.
Like we're
desperate to be the victim. Her and Aristocracy have this in common. He basically invited to every panel. Oh yeah, basically yeah. Because they want to spice it up with CTV.
You're very careful with your
The thing is, I'm not even kidding about that. He's not playing the dumbass country boy as much. And it is coming out that he does seem to think of things a few steps beyond the likes of Dylan. So
words. You said that multiple
maybe
times.
He's the
and I try to be really careful with my words. And I think that that's something that
maybe
I
he's
wish
the puppet master after all. CTV.
She needs to think about the consequences of that stuff. And I think what I'm guessing is
he's not as dumb as he plays. That's true.
At the end of the day, it's like we all. It's like it's just.
He is pretty racist though.
Mean girl.
That part's real.
To just make fun of someone, especially when your audience is so large, and to laugh at them.
Okay.
I get it.
So calling Keffals a mean girl is kind of a dog whistle to the people within Keffals community that are concerned with things, that are basically Aristocracy is hoping that some errant former Keffals supporters that were maybe kind of put off by her making fun of people's of Tim Pool's baldness, for instance, right? Maybe she's making a play for them or something like that, right? By saying that, but that is what that phrase has come to mean, is the mean girls is a slag against Keffals and her inner circle, that they're vapid and like mean girls. They're like mean girls. That's basically, it's not really that complicated. That's what she's referring to. So interesting that she'd try to play, try to sort of move to Keffals' left in a weird way.
And even if I think I understand the criticisms, I understand why she doesn't want to be on it. I think I definitely think it came off mean. And when I saw and I can only imagine how that felt from your perspective when you're on there and you're you have a camera on you and everything, and that there's thousands of people laughing at you. That fucking who, I don't know, you'd have to be a fucking robot to not feel
or a VTuber
getting bullied,
right,
in that situation,
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not anything
VTubers
I'm not
have
used
feelings
to,
too.
again.
Okay,
it's not anything I'm not used to on a very frequent basis. But the way that somebody like Zonia put it really well for me, that I feel like an island. I know that I don't have anybody to fall back on. If I have other.
Okay, wait. Was Zonia saying that Stardust feels like an island, or that she feels like an island? She did get herself into trouble recently with going after ICO rules. She's basically got a reputation for, just kind of going after people in a disingenuous way. Gayfesh, Celine, I think her name is Josie, Demon Mama, myself, right? She's got a reputation for this. So if you're an island, it's kind of from fucking so many people over. Maybe that would be my guess as to why. But I'm not sure. Maybe she's saying this about Stardust.
And my community, I don't have anybody to fall back on when it comes to the amount of negative attention I get from all sides. I get it from both political sides. And then non-political sides too. And so
wait, what are the non-political sides? Are the gamers giving her shit?
I'm used to that kind of stuff. I'm used to being an island.
Wait,
but
the non-political side, what is that?
It's still
some VTubers are pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
When I put this much
Some
work,
of them are evil
this
though.
much
Like my
passion
VTubers,
into what I do,
apparently,
and I'm being
according to some shit that Aristocracy platformed against me, my VTubers are actually evil. They're spies, I guess. I don't know. They go into places and they spy on people, and it's all clan ops, chat. Clan ops, right? Clan ops. She had to make a little retraction about clan ops, but you know, she wanted to talk about clan ops, so she talked about some clan ops, and there was some VTubers. I didn't really get the point of that, of like, she's got secret VTubers, right? Like, yeah, like until I fix Miss Umbrella's voice so that it doesn't pierce your ears, I was going to keep that a secret. It wasn't exactly ready for prime time, but it was a fun little project I was working on behind the scenes. Somehow that became an allegation against nocommentchick.
Misconstrued, and
even my fucking VTubers,
what it feels like targeted.
Get targeted
and you
by
know,
assholes
I've had
like this
in the recent weeks, like,
and
advocate for people to
and like this. Both of these bitches, both of them.
So it's heartbreaking.
Both
for me
of them,
because I'm
like,
so,
I don't think they do it anymore, chat. But both of them have been seen, have even been screen capped, you know, supporting NCC and on claims, right? Both of them
passionate about this,
friends of.
But,
Zonia's.
It doesn't matter, I guess, whatever work I put into. It doesn't matter to people.
If there's any
like, how
mean
much effort I
girls,
put into this.
you know what I'm saying?
And you know, that's
mean
part
girls?
of it too, is that they think that I've
Mean
done
girls?
nothing to
You
prepare
think?
for this. They don't know like my history. They don't know what I've done in the past. They don't know the type of people that I've argued with in the past and the type of people I've had following me around and harassing me in the past. So yeah, it's very heartbreaking. It's very frustrating. And that's just what it was for me. So
what kind of, has there been any criticism of you that made you kind of like look inward or like take some pause and thinking that there might be some legitimacy to it?
I mean, I'm sure like people seem to think that I'm just somebody who rolls over, and I think a lot of the time that's because of my mannerisms. But I don't think I do. I think I do push back on things, and I think people who think that about me haven't watched the entirety of my content and don't watch the way that I push back on things or the way that I make people uncomfortable on purpose. So that is something. Also, just like the timing of things. Sometimes I will do things that will like unintentionally make somebody really mad at me. So, I mean, there's always like work to be done there. But as far as like pushing back on people, I do think that I'm pretty good at pushing back on people. I'm pretty good at like having conversations with people and kind of diving into the nuances of the things that they believe and their past and things like that. But yeah, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, because I used to talk to Nazis myself, and I once, I don't know, I remember once posting a conversation where I felt like the Nazi ended up coming out looking better.
I've had one of those, yeah. I've had
the musical version or the sequel?
And so, like,
They're so boring now.
Did you feel shitty afterwards?
They're not
like,
ready for. Maybe
did you feel like,
maybe just like my VTuber, they're not ready for prime time.
Because that's definitely how I felt. Like,
Could be.
One time was enough for me. One time, getting like fucking blown out of the water was enough for me to, you know, never want that to happen again. So I think, and one of my chatters here said something, you know, there's this weird undertone on the pushback side of no.
Am I too
not
yellow,
like that,
chat? Did I make myself too yellow?
With the exact same thing, which I think is also
I'm kind of yellow, aren't
I? People always don't like
a little
the way
too much
I do things, the way that I push back.
Okay, let's try this.
And even though there are other creators who do the exact same thing and nobody criticizes them
because
for it.
You're not as aggro, like you're not. Do you think like you're more feminine in how you push back?
I mean, even other creators who are, you know, pretty casual in the way they talk to people, are, don't
Chat, you've got to
get
decide.
criticized the same way.
Can you help
I
me
think
decide
people just like
which
to
light?
analyze me or tell me what they think is the best way, and that the way that I did it wasn't the best way. But I mean, yeah, there has been like my debate with Sean Last is one where like I will never forget that debate. That debate was one of the most painful debates I've ever had.
What happened?
I spent like 2 weeks like reading this dude's blog posts. This dude is like a race realist, hardcore race realist, and I went through like all of his blog posts and debunked all of them.
Looks good.
Like on stream with my friends, and then like the debate comes and everything goes out the window.
This lighting.
So
that's happened before.
Yeah. So
I'm too silly.
Just everything went out the window. It was so painful. It was such a pain. I mean, people said that I rebounded in the second half, but you know, like the second half is too late. So definitely that one's a painful one. It's a painful memory I'll never forget about. But I do think that I'm very confident in the way that I push back on people. I don't think that I'm particularly softer than anybody else. I think I do have to maintain a little bit more politeness just because of being a woman in a media sphere. But I don't think being
hard agree.
Polite necessarily means that I'm not pushing back.
Yeah, and
I think I do
one thing
push
I
back
will say is that, like, as much as I'm criticizing Stardust here, like, a lot of these criticisms apply to other content creators in the field. And, you know, Sansoy, Dylan, like, there's a lot of issues with platforming, right? There's plenty of blame to go around, and it seems like people are a lot quicker to blame Stardust than they are to blame those other people. Now, I know I've talked enough to you about Dylan, right? You know, we don't need another Dylan arc, right? But it's it is a lot easier maybe for them to like blame somebody like Stardust than it is for them to face the fact that a lot of these debate platforms are doing harm.
Hard on people when I have the ability to, and I think that people just want to tell me that I'm not doing it right.
Would you ever?
Yeah. Good point, Dweeb
Would
Chan.
you ever sit down and have a conversation with Keffals?
Yeah, I offered that much to her that night that she was watching me. I said, you know, please come talk to me. I would love to have a talk with you. Because I think if she understood where I was coming from and like my history and my past, that maybe she would understand why I do the things that I do.
This is like, this is why I like doing these interviews, because I still disagree with you associating with Flamenco and Mr. Girl and
so supposedly it gets spicy.
So that
supposedly when they talk about Mr. Girl it gets spicy. I guess Eris is not a fan.
For me that hasn't changed that, but at the it's something that I really get frustrated with the left in general, or just like with this online sphere, that like you can't disagree with someone or without like coming to this awful conclusion about their character. And and it's
oh my
like
God,
sometimes
chat.
people like I just think you're incorrect about it. I don't think like
do I look like a maiden right now
about it, and I don't think that we'd probably just have different information and different experiences that have led us to come to a different conclusion. It doesn't mean necessarily there's like this, you know, you're a bad person.
Why do I feel like a maiden all of a sudden?
Or I'm a bad person.
What does that
or
mean?
Anything like that. It's totally possible. Like you've had I had.
Hopefully it's not like Ruby.
That led me.
That
to
would
come
be
to
that would be a
conclusion,
bad way to be a
and,
maiden.
Humans are emotional creatures as much as we like to think we're like above it. And you've obviously like had experiences that, you know, that focus for you, like the way that you deal with this stuff is like.
I thought she was gonna say the way that you deal psychic damage.
This incredibly harmful thing, and
I do look extra cute,
and I understand.
Maybe that's it.
I feel bad ostracizing people too. I guess.
But I do it all the time.
Like the way I've kind of
like she literally put like crazy streamer in the thumbnail of her video about me. She doesn't like to ostracize people. Eris missed me with that garbage. We know who you are.
Fight in my head is that it's like a small immoral deed for a larger moral good, you know?
I guess, but as somebody who felt ostracized from like both like American culture and from my own like
it's personal for you.
Cultural heritage, yeah, I know what it feels like to be ostracized from all sides. It's not something that's new to me. So
Is that how you felt that night, like on Hippy Dippy?
On Hippy Dippy, did you feel ostracized? Keffals ostracized me.
No, I think I've kind of gotten used to being ostracized. I think what I felt that night,
I'm used to it.
Quite honestly with you, when I say I was heartbroken, I think that's just all I could say about that night, is that I was heartbroken, that I was being portrayed in a way that was so uncharitable, that didn't seem to understand where I was coming from, that didn't seem there's no charitability in the amount of work that I put into what I do, the amount of research into what I do, the amount of preparation I do for like when I talk to people. Like I don't think people see, you know, behind the scenes like how much work I put into this, and structuring conversations and how I'm going to carry out these conversations, and then what I'm doing behind the scenes while I'm having these conversations. There's a lot of stuff that people don't see, and it's not.
Like I know,
I'm not
yeah,
just
you have to make
walking
like
the
Twitter
conversations
announcements. It's a whole thing.
with
It's
no
a whole ass
research.
thing. It's a whole ass thing.
I research very heavily. You know, I read up on like different things a lot. And it's just heartbreaking that I put so much effort into this and so much of my passion into this, and to be taken
The
so
amount of
uncharitably.
hard work she does not to push back on.
Yeah, especially that you seem to really focus on hard work. Like you said, you said yourself that you've got like this.
To be fair, you don't talk like the TV programs that play in the waiting room like these two. Maybe your inflection in your voice is enough to be crazy in her book.
Really intense work ethic, and it probably really, I mean, I would say hard work is not exactly a value, a very strong value that I see a lot perpetuated in the online sphere of the left. So
no, I mean like
yeah. So honestly, that makes sense. Honestly, like getting to that.
Knowing this sphere, the only way that she could honestly mean that, right, is to think that it's crazy for you not to recognize the power dynamic that's at work here and to try to defy it and to like, you know, pretend that the sincerity with which you're coming at this issue that affects trans people is enough to outweigh the vast and overwhelming network of ignorance that rises up in your face. That would be why she thinks I'm crazy. And maybe she's right. But chat, if that's crazy, I don't want to be sane.
With what you were saying. Let's
I
talk
am,
about Mr. Girl.
And have always been, a mentally ill masturbator. And it feels good to say that.
Because
mentally ill masturbator.
There's gotta
Sorry, that's a deep reference. That's an old meme.
I guess like for me, that was probably the area that I've had my strongest disagreement with you, because I didn't really hate it that much when people talk to Mr. Girl. Like I didn't, but it was, but I kept seeing like tweets and stuff of you saying how much you liked him, how he was such a good guy.
The whole thing.
And it was like the personal affirmation.
The whole
of him.
Tweet thread.
And everything I had seen was like so. Ugh. And
yeah, you're not wrong about that.
And so I kind of want to get into that.
And that's like I've touched on, you know, the existence of Mr. Girl. I've touched on the platforming of Mr. Girl. I haven't really shown you a lot of the content of Mr. Girl because the content of Mr. Girl is odious. It is not good.
Why do you like the guy?
So when I talk to him, and don't get me wrong, Mr. Girl and I do actually disagree on a lot of things. There are significant like amounts of what he believes that I just heavily disagree with. But when I talk to him, I got the feeling that a lot of this comes from a personal place from him.
She
and
made
so
it sound like
when I interviewed him,
they were kindred
like,
spirits.
stuff that
Like,
really stuck out to me.
when she made that long tweet thread, it was like, this is my, like, I finally found someone who understands the darkness that I experience. And it was like, whoa, you found a kindred spirit. And
was, you know, his upbringing.
I guess so.
The, you know, the life that he's lived. And in some way, I think that the way he talks about these things is a way for himself to understand the way that people have hurt him. He, like one thing that stuck out to me is like his mother was like sexually attracted to him growing up. And he, she broke
she
the
called out
boundary with him
Stardust
by, like,
afterwards.
telling
Yeah,
him
that's really
that,
good.
later on, she had kicked him out of the house, and he didn't have any.
So is Demon Mama's, like, that's the thing, is Demon Mama, I know she's gonna dive right into the, like, the most horrible stuff that Mr. Girl's done. So, like, I've been trying to think of a way to cover it without, like, you know, kind of just like causing people to vomit and stuff.
Contact with her, and then later on he confronted her about, like, why did you kick me out of the house? And she wrote him this letter saying that
Trying
she was
to
sexually
humanize a
attracted to
career
him.
Nazi. This is not
And,
justifiable.
and
I didn't
think-
even think about that. When she's saying the things to Richard Spencer, the thing is, like, you know, you gotta be careful how you dress somebody down. I dressed Dylan down a little bit in WrestleBrania. But you can make people really sympathetic to somebody by doing that, right? And so if you dress down Richard Spencer, you know, and your thing is like, let me just, like, you know, embarrass him, let me, you know, make him realize that, like, you know, he's yesterday's news, and, like, let's try to get him, like, kind of, you know, triggered, for lack of a better term. You might just, like, make your audience, like, more compassionate towards him. You're showing him, you know, yeah, in a really human way. I didn't even think about that. I don't think there's a good way to cover Mr. Girl without long list of trigger. I know, right? And I
think he said that basically he did feel like something was up, something was wrong when he did live with her. Something was creepy. I think the way that he talks about a lot of this stuff is him trying to come to terms with that, and he says it's not. But like, you know, he does this thing where he thinks that other people are lying. I think he's lying about that. So
what?
I think that he is. I think the reason why he is so intensely focused on certain issues is because they have this very personal connection to him.
But do you think that I feel?
Yeah.
I've read. I mean, I've read so much history about all these awful people throughout history, and they're not, like, awful out of, like, a vacuum. Like, there's shit that happened to them. Like, even, like, the dumbest, awful, worst, like, emperors of Rome. Like, there are reasons why they are, right? So, like,
dumb
bad people
Roman
always have
emperors.
reasons
Yeah,
for,
those ones.
You know, the reasons why they're bad. But you know, unless, like, the devil is speaking through them or something.
The devil?
Which is very rare. But
Wait, I hope so.
Like, to me, whether or not
pretty rare,
it feels
at least.
like that logic, even though I understand it because it's compassionate and I get it. You could use that logic to basically say that you like everyone, that you like everyone, and everyone is a good person and everyone's a good guy. You know, therefore it's somewhat vacuous, you know?
I think, yeah. So I think the difference is, like,
meow, Matthew Moulton.
He hasn't. So he is very honest about, like, the wrongs that he's done.
This is
in his life. He's very.
What is it that the DGGers say? He doesn't care about optics, and he's consistent, and he's what is the word that they use? Like, you know, the idea is being like, he's real, and it's like, wait, like, you think being real is like, I don't know, like, what was the word that they use for it? I can't remember, but, like, yeah, basically his
honest about, like, the ugliest parts of him.
Meow.
And I think that honesty is very valuable. And if he ever did something that was
like, if it was somebody, oh my god, like, seriously though, like, I feel like if he was as self-critical as you were describing, then maybe he would have tried to change something. I don't know. Like, you're talking about the guy that got mad at Keffals and made us a video called Transel Culture, saying that trans people are just out of hand. They're transeling everyone. They're going to transel you. They're going to transel you. Everybody's getting transeled. We got to watch out for trans people because they do transel culture above and beyond other marginalized groups. We really got to watch out for trans. Yeah. Fucking horrible video. And you know, like, and then Zonia did like Zonia's on a Mr. Girl ass kiss art, right? If you haven't been paying attention to, like, probably my most toxic, you know, hater, the person who's basically been stalking me for the better part of a year, Zonia Duat, she's standing Mr. Girl. She's standing Mr. Girl hard. Her last cancel campaign against ICO rules was basically saying that calling Mr. Girl saying that Mr. Girl was like pro-rape is like this horrible thing, right? So it was just like, you know, rape apologia. That's what's going on in Zonia's world now. So, yeah.
Irredeemable. I think he would be very forward about it. He's willing to have very, very uncomfortable conversations. And while I don't agree with everything that he says, I don't agree with everything that he does.
Oh, Stardust wants to be the Harley to Mr. Girl's Joker.
As somebody myself who tries to have very honest conversations with people, I can appreciate somebody else who also tries to have honest conversations, I suppose.
Well, like, we're talking about someone
who's honest conversations.
He's openly admitted to...
Yeah, chat, if you could, give that Twitter thread some love.
He's openly admitted
bring more people in, more
being a rapist.
More NCC cat cult members.
Sexually having attraction to children. Like,
do you know that we were seriously seriously that? This was a criticism that we got, like, right, with the Dylan thing, possibly from Zonia, that we were a cat cult, and the meow was like some kind of, I don't know, like I'm somehow psychically controlling people with meows. Like, if you say meow back, that, oh my god, you're a cat cult member.
That, like, these are things that
clearly.
I said. And I think that that's why he gets the he gives the impression, people are like, whoa, like, you're openly admitting these things. Like, I think that appeals to a lot of people, and I understand why. But it also struck me, and I realized I'm being critical of myself because of what I said earlier in the stream. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's being honest, right? Because he's admitting things that
he tells you the uncomfortable truths. Yeah.
Because for all we know, there might be even worse things that he's not admitting to. Like, he's only admitting to like the 10%
you refuse.
That he's willing
no
to.
Meow.
Like we
only
like,
Pion.
We never know. So like, how do you know that he's?
Oh no! Oh no!
I think even admitting to being a domestic abuser is
always been a cat.
That would get a lot of people. A lot of people would not want to admit to that. He admitted to it. I asked him about it. I think in my interview, he talked about and I believe him because he talked about how hard it was to get a therapist that would see him for his issue.
He creeped out his therapist regularly, right?
Yeah, he creeped out his therapist, but also therapists would turn you away if you had any history of domestic abuse.
The cat cult is real.
And it was hard for him to get a therapist who would see him despite his history. So I think that kind of, to me, shows somebody who is trying to be a better person. As far as like
Aristocracy doing a little Pikachu,
the rape
thing. Little Pikachu mouth right there. Did you see that?
I don't think that it was. I don't think it's right in any way. No, I don't know.
I think her VTuber was just hung up or something.
He's trying to have, it's more of a conversation about like we need to start thinking about these things in much more nuance.
Much more nuance.
Because
what does that even mean?
Says that, it really comes off to me like he is trying to excuse it or
normalize it,
intellectualize and intellectualize his abuse.
Yeah, I don't think his intention was to excuse it really, but
it's amazing to me that anybody buys his shit,
and even I, to some extent, think that
it blows my mind.
The video maybe wasn't
that there are
best
people like Stardust like making an argument, but like no, you don't understand the abusive like dude that like creeps me, you know, the fuck out. He's really honest. He's a really honest abusive dude, and you know, he talks about wanting to get better, and it's really hard for him to find a therapist. And did you know that he petted a cat? Did you know that he petted a cat once? Yeah. How could somebody that petted a cat be bad?
Whatever message he was trying to communicate.
See, here's him, picture of him with a cat. Petting. He's petting.
Most people are not capable of reading body language like that. You know, most people are not. The safest way to engage with a sexual encounter is to get that verbal consent. I think everybody should do that, and probably telling people on the internet that you didn't do that is probably not a good idea, because the prevalence of people on the internet.
Oh my god! Because somebody might draw the connection between him saying that he did a sexual act without like consent and a certain word that just like, you know, you don't want to be associated with in any way.
A situation.
What?
The woman literally
Wow.
Stop.
She told him that she wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Like this Mr. Girl shit sounds like a cult.
And then he pulled her down onto him.
Okay, no. Okay. Yes,
I think they had plans to meet up again or something like that.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my god. Okay,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's why, like, even in like the most conservative circles, that would be considered rape.
Yeah, it would be.
So like, remember earlier when I
does not understand. She's not very much about
Earlier,
well, that's what she's found herself doing by just like
someone have to do for you to not want to
sucking up to
said, like, if
you know,
actually,
whoever will have her at this point
would actually committed a hate crime, right?
It's really it's kind of sad.
He probably wouldn't, if I remember correctly, right? Mm-hmm. So like, why is Mr. Girl different, right? Is it because he admits to it and he said like he admits to it?
I think partly he admits to it, and I think he knows that it wasn't right. In one of the conversations I had with him and a few other people, he specifically said, you know, I'm not saying what I did was right. And even when he talked about the domestic abuse, he also said it wasn't right. It was. I think he knows when things he does aren't right, and I think that. I mean, honestly, with the rape story as well, like, there is a lot of gray in these things, in these conversations, and he knows that he wasn't right for that, but at the same time, that woman, like, technically, yes, it is rape, but that woman wanted to meet up with him again. So I don't know, you know, it's so obviously he shouldn't have done it. But there needs to be a conversation around these things, and I think it's valuable to have a conversation around these things.
When you hear people like me and Keffals say that we don't want to have anything to do with this debate sphere anymore, this is why. This kind of crap is way too common of a viewpoint in those communities, right?
I don't think it's responsible maybe to say that you knew her body language, because most people don't. Most people are not good at body language readers. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's something I don't talk about, like rape or sexual assault a lot, because I just feel so unqualified to talk about it. And I'm not a victim,
I gotta give it to Eris in this conversation.
So it's like I don't of assault. So like,
at least on this issue, she's not totally fucked up.
I try not to talk about it as much as possible.
It's refreshing.
I also like wonder like when it's so, to me, and from the research that I've seen, and just as a layman, that by like the way he talks about it and the way he gives. Even though he'll say something's wrong, but then he's excusing it, then he's justifying it. It's like where he'll
Wow,
say,
I don't think
it's
I've
wrong,
ever
it's wrong to
agreed
assault
with Eris as
children.
much.
But let's be real, most men
That's
really want to.
kind of amazing.
Like where he's trying to like
Somebody
normalize
that's
it.
so
And it
bad they
feels
cause
very
me to
much,
agree with
it
Eris
feels
against
a little
them.
sneaky,
That is
you know, it feels a little weaselly.
I could
feels
see that.
weird.
I think
Feels
what
really
he's
weird.
trying to do there is not trying to normalize it, like that it's okay to do that. I think he's trying to say that a lot of people feel this way, and it's a problem. And we need to acknowledge that a lot of people feel this way. So I think that the disconnect
we need to
here
acknowledge
is that a
that
lot
people
of people
feel
are looking
like
at his stuff and saying that
this
his
way?
message
Is that
a lot
what
of
you're
people
saying?
feel this way. It's normal, but his
Is this
message is a lot of
Pedialyte
people feel this way.
liberation? What are we
and we need to
talking
do
about?
something, or we need to be aware of it. And I think
This is
there is some
weird.
truth in that, because
This is really weird. A broken rock
majority
clock
of
is
people who
wrong.
get assaulted
2
or
seconds.
get molested are molested by people that they know, usually a family member.
Oh my
and,
god.
you know,
what
there
are we talking
is,
about?
Like, I think understanding like how prevalent that is and how likely it is really important, so you can prevent it. He always advocates for people to go get help for those kinds of things. I think his main message around that has been that like this performative performative anger towards like, you know, pedophiles, the like not even the non-offending ones, like is well, specifically non-offending ones, the performative anger is not helpful in preventing child assault.
But he
If
doesn't
anything,
know that.
No, there is studies. There are
There's
studies
that say the opposite. That's why I'm saying like it's a thing that he
interviewed a person who's like some professor who does research on preventing child sexual assault and performative.
So wait, it sounds like what it is Stardust has watched enough of Mr. Girl's content to get inculcated, and they found, like, who do you think Mr. Girl's gonna bring on? The person that's like, no, this is fucked up, dude. This is fucked up. Or they're gonna bring on the person that says, actually, you're pretty based. Like, right? And Stardust watched the content and said, no, you don't understand. There was like a scientist guy. The scientist guy says it's all right. So science, bitches, science. Yeah, that's what she said. Science, bitches. And wow. I mean, sorry to not trust Mr. Girl's science expert, but again, Stardust, X'd out. We're just gonna tap that brake slightly, Stardust. I don't have great confidence in
anger towards pedophiles has been like is seen to like not be helpful in that, because then pedophiles don't get help for their problem.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where the issue is.
So wait, isn't there like a name for this
and all of that kind of stuff? Is that I know that can't be true, because it would be true if there was a treatment, right? But there is currently no accepted treatment for pedophilia. So the idea that like we're reducing the chances of someone going and getting help, it's like that implies that there's treatment. Like the reason why we try to destigmatize a lot of like other things is because we know that there is an accepted treatment to fix things, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly, Max. Exactly.
Totally fine for like society,
you're
like,
on this.
We don't know how to treat it. So like maybe we should make a social taboo, because social taboos have been effective in like tons of society. So maybe we should make a social taboo about a certain subject.
You ever think of having a little social taboo on stuff like this?
Mean that people can't researchers shouldn't research and all that.
So a huge disconnect here as well is that majority of child sex offenders are not pedophiles. There is a significantly more likelihood of a pedophile to become a child sex offender, but majority of child sex offenders are not pedophiles. And so
when I say pedophile, I'm talking about the colloquial definition, not the exclusively attracted.
Well, and then that's where the disconnect is, because he's specifically talking about people
like into this shit
offending.
Dude, you got inculcated.
Obviously
you got inculcated.
well,
Oh my
obviously,
God.
when somebody is offending, like,
Oh
that is
no.
horrible,
Oh
and they
no.
should,
This is worse than
you
I
know,
thought.
Like, all of the
This is
all
worse
of the
than I
stigma
thought.
and they deserve to be punished for it. But I think he specifically is talking about non-offending. He's made that very clear in a lot of his videos.
This is
that he
way
talks
worse
about
than I
non-offending
thought.
pedophiles. He talks
Wow.
about the technical definition of pedophiles, and that it's better for them to go at least seek therapy. Like, even if there's no accepted treatment for it, for them to seek therapy, so people can keep them away from
somebody
children.
that wasn't an
He thinks that they
ANCAP.
shouldn't
Yeah,
be anywhere
exactly.
near children. To make sure that they don't seek out jobs where they're near children. And I think that I don't think he would disagree that, like, people who offend should be punished for it, but I do think that he is specifically talking about non-offending pedophiles, and he also often brings up the fact that a lot of child sex offenders are not pedophiles. A lot of sex offenders in general are people who are doing it
They're
for other reasons.
sexual opportunists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the term pedophile doesn't mean that they haven't actually acted on it. It just means the actual term doesn't even mean that you're attracted to
She's
children.
deep in the woods right
Exclusively
now.
attracted to children. So it's a term that even he doesn't actually even use the correct definition himself. He's just
So
using
I'm
his
gonna
own
kind of just like
definition.
not worry
so
about
that's why, like, yeah, so
Stardust
that's why
criticisms
I don't
of me.
understand
I
that.
think we can put those aside.
But again, this is like, it's so hard because again, I really
I think that's something I need to spend a lot of
pedophiles are
time on.
apparently in the
Either
majority,
of
like,
these two.
statistically, of pedophiles, right? So I
Well, I
think
mean,
that's what he's trying to
makes
talk
sense.
about.
It's probably there's probably little opportunity that to target a child, right, as well, and
also
I'm
they
sure
don't
there's-
want to.
and
They
some-
know
yeah,
that
and I'm
it's
sure there's
wrong.
sometimes, I'm sure there's some like tons of them that have recognize that it's immoral, and like a lot of people have really shitty desires and don't act on them, right? So,
Yeah. Also, somebody said it's not exclusive. The actual definition is persistent and recurring sexual interest,
no,
but
it's
not
it's
exclusive.
primary, mostly exclusive. That's like, yeah, that's in the DSM. But yeah. So but again, this is again like. I've seen psychologists like literally watch videos of him and just say like, this is so dangerous, like this is so problematic, like, and I think there's a reason why he got banned off of platforms like Twitch and stuff, where I don't even know if I would have a problem with him having these conversations in private, but because like they're in such a public sphere and they're for people's entertainment, and because we don't know if these conversations could potentially cause harm, like what if someone was effectively closing that shit up, you know, and not acting on it, and then they started to feel like, oh, like maybe it is somewhat normal. He did say that, like, you know, most men kind of really feel like this, and he did say that he feels like this, and he doesn't seem like a bad guy. I mean, Stardust likes him, blah, 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 you know, and what if, like, maybe it's not that bad, and maybe he'll start thinking about it more and not suppressing.
I almost think that it's more than that. Like, okay, I'm going to introduce a concept here. I think there are some people who are like, I don't even know. I don't want to make up a, I almost want to say like socially predatory, right? In which I mean that they're able to deceive a decent chunk of people. Now, these aren't necessarily the best adjusted people, the happiest people, right? I'm thinking that they kind of reach out there and they try to, you know, control people that are really not doing great, right? And that have like a hole that they need filled, have an emptiness, have a loneliness, right? And that's the only thing I can think of with Mr. Girl. There is some fucking like Jedi mind tricks going on there, right? Because this is not normal shit to accept. This is the kind of shit a cult gets you to accept, right? It's like there's, I don't know. Not that I'm saying that Mr. Girl has a sex cult. That's Xanderhall, remember? That has the sex cult. No. But seriously though, it enables everyone enables him and is profiting off of him. Yeah, because he makes a social media splash. Like he has figured out what to do to get like a shit ton of engagement, right? And it's talk about shit like this.
It as much, and maybe he'll act on it. You know, like it's, I don't know. We don't know like we don't know the amount of harm it can cause. And so to me, it's just something that like, it's like talking about nuclear energy. Like I feel like you shouldn't talk about it unless like you're very educated about it. And as much as, and even now, like we're debating these intricate details of like definitions and all this stuff. Like so much of this stuff is still up for debate and in the air. And yeah, I just feel like we're so unqualified to like, it just really scares me that we might potentially make things worse, you know?
So I'm actually looking at the DSM-5 specifiers here. Let's see. It's saying non-exclusive type sexual attraction to adults and children can be also one of the specifiers. So it's not necessarily exclusive. There are people I'm sure who
They
are
use the word
exclusively.
primary. They use the word primary.
Yeah, but primary doesn't necessarily mean exclusive, does it?
No, but it does mean mostly exclusive, or it's like it's their form. It's the primary.
Plus
It's like
no
the main
principles
form of sexual
equals
attraction.
dust
So they might
star.
still feel sexually attracted here or there to other people, but like the main focus, like the main thing they're into, is that.
Here, I
So
just
that's
posted on
the
too.
colloquial. I mean, either way, they use the word to primary. He doesn't use that definition, so he definitely. So he uses his own definition for pedophile for what he finds useful.
Yeah, so I just linked you something. I guess you can take a look if you want. Yeah. I mean, again, like, you know, I'm friends with the guy. That doesn't mean that I agree with everything that he says. I do see where he's coming from and why he is so passionate about certain subjects. But you know,
Certain
you know,
subjects,
people are saying
huh,
that like, oh, what he
okay.
does is like harmful. You know, like that's bad, obviously. But I mean, he's also interacting and interviewing like professors and psychiatrists and leaders of different organizations who work
And
on this kind of
scientists
stuff too.
who say
So
that like
I
he's
can't
fucking
really say,
based. That's how he gets.
you
He's
know.
got
So
some
what you're
cool
saying is that you
scientists
try to look at
too.
him as a whole, you know. So you recognize that
yeah.
I mean,
there's some, like,
HOLE,
incorrect
like a black hole of like
I mean, there's again a
discourse,
significant
maybe.
amount of the
Yeah,
stuff that like we both disagree on.
we could call him an HOLE.
But I do think that he
of
is
a
honestly trying to do good in the
certain
world.
variety.
Whether that he's doing that the right way, I can't really say. But I think he is trying to say that like people need to acknowledge that this is a reality, because if we don't acknowledge that it's a reality, and this is very true, if you
But
make
what's a
pedophiles
reality?
and sex offenders out to be these monsters who could no way be part of near you or anything near you, you know, that's how like people turn a blind eye to family members abusing children, right?
That's
like, they
not
think, like,
what
there's
he's
no
not
way,
trying
you know,
to
like,
protect us.
But the reality is
He's
a lot of
trying to
children grow up not
normalize
even
this
knowing that they're
shit.
being
Oh my
sexually abused.
god. How could
Yeah, I
anybody
think
be
if he
this
did that, I wouldn't
naive?
have as much of a problem with them, right? But yeah, again, it
She
feels
couldn't,
like that's what
could
he
she?
wants people to think he's
There's no
doing.
way.
And when I hear and I see this content and I see the arguments, it definitely doesn't come off that way. It comes off like he's being a little like he tries to excuse it. I remember listening to the Vosh conversation particularly that I found. I watched the whole thing, no editing, nothing, and it really just seemed like he was. It kind, I don't know, like it really seemed like he was trying to normalize it.
I didn't really listen to the Vosh conversation, but I've listened to his other content, and from what I can tell from his other content, he very much has said, and even in interviews with me, he said that I think like people who realize that they're attracted to children should stay the fuck away from children. You know, like they should be not be working anywhere around children. They, you know, they're not capable of doing it.
Like, has she ever thought of like how much water she's carrying for this guy and what happens if this guy does something that does blip the legal radar in some way? Like, you're really going out on a limb for this guy. That's why I'm like, does he have some kind of like, you know, Jedi mind control shit going on? Like, what is this? Why would somebody put themselves out for the dude like that?
There's an issue with people who have
That is
non-disclosed
wild.
behavior not getting early therapy with pedophilia, it looks like. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what he's trying to address.
It sounds like
there
Eris
is a
knows this
very much a
issue
real
more
issue,
than
and-
she
and
does.
The statistic that, you know, most child sex offenders are not pedophiles is a real statistic, and something that we need to acknowledge, and something that, you know, yes, pedophiles are going to be more likely to be child sex offenders, and that's why they need to go and seek therapy, and not feel like they're going to get executed or put in jail for even having a thought.
I guess, like, yeah, I really feel like that's not what he comes down to, but we might have to agree to disagree on this in this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, this whole conversation would just turn into us debating Mr. Girl stuff. But, like, I guess, like, do you, I guess, understand at least, like, why it would be frustrating? Like, why, that you didn't just talk to him, or you weren't like, but you were like kind of actively like endorsing him as like a, you know, he's like a great person. Like why,
I understand
why that would
that.
be hurtful,
I
especially.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think like, you know, you don't have to agree with me, and you know, again, I don't even agree with everything that Mr. Girl says. But I think I see
what are
where
some
what he's
disagreements?
trying. Like I'd have to like really go into it. Like I have disagreements on like, I think he's like he's a gender abolitionist, and I don't necessarily agree with him on that. That's just like I don't.
He
even,
is a gender
I'm not a
abolitionist in the weirdest way you can imagine. In the
There's some
weirdest
other
way you
things
can
that I would really have
imagine.
to like go into it, but there are significant.
I don't even
things that we
remember how to
disagree on. I
explain
think we
it.
just have very similar
He
communication
doesn't believe
styles.
trans people like really exist, right? Like he doesn't believe.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. So, yeah, like, yeah, there's like significant, large portions of stuff that he believes.
He doesn't believe you exist, Sonia. Why are you carrying water for him? Seriously? I didn't know that he was that, like, I didn't listen to the whole Transl culture panel, right? I couldn't take that, right? But I didn't realize it was that bad. Jesus Christ. Like, you're like worse than Blair. Like, seriously.
Believes that I don't believe, and stuff that I believe that he doesn't believe. So, yeah. But we have very similar communication styles, and I see where he's trying to go with his most controversial conversations. So, yeah.
So I'm guessing you don't think he should have been banned from Twitch?
I don't know why he was banned on Twitch. So, and you know, that's why I wrote that whole letter about like, please unban him and stuff. But, you know, that's up to Twitch, I guess.
This is more than enough, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what's another character that someone has like, I don't know. Is there someone else? Like, did I miss
Character?
someone? Because I know Flamenco, Mr. Girl.
I mean, Nick Fuentes popped into one of my panels on a Sunday one time, and people were saying like I shouldn't have had him on, but like if you like, what am I
He
gonna do?
popped
Like,
onto a
do I
panel.
want to be seen forever as like the brown girl who's
Yo.
afraid of Nick Fuentes?
I let Destiny pop onto a panel, and that was actually a huge mistake, right? He came on, and all he wanted to do was dehumanize Demon Mama. And as much as I had issues with Demon Mama, everybody knows, like, I wasn't looking to dehumanize her, right? You know, it's very important not to let trans people get dehumanized.
Is like, no, I'm gonna have him on. I yelled at him just like I yelled at everybody else because that's how I moderate. You know, like I'm not going to let people tell me and dictate to me how I should talk to other people.
So how does someone, okay, one of the hardest things about being a content creator, I think so many people, ContraPoints really touched on this really well, is that so many people would be like, well, just take some criticism. We're just giving you criticism. But they don't realize that as a public figure, you get criticism 24/7. It's like, and so much of it is not charitable, so much of it is not productive. So how do you like, but at the same time, I can't speak for you, but like, I don't want to become the type of person that never takes criticism. So like, how do you find that happy medium between taking, like, how do you find what is legitimate criticism and what is something that you can just completely dismiss as someone just trying to control you?
Yeah, I think you can tell like when somebody...
You take criticism, right? But instead you were just calling Bad Empanada an anti-Semite. It didn't seem like you were trying to take criticism there.
Is being constructive with criticism, and when somebody is just constantly nagging you about you shouldn't be talking to this person, you shouldn't be talking to that person. If it's about the way that I talk to people, then I think I can generally tell like, okay, maybe there's something here that I need to improve upon. But if it's just a blanket like you shouldn't talk to these people, talking to these people is, you know, all that, like, yeah, I think it's stuff like that. I think in general most content creators can tell when somebody is coming from a constructive place and when somebody is just coming from a hateful place. So
I feel like I can't tell. Like I struggle with that every day. So I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how you can tell. Vosh told me also when I asked him the same question. He said that.
Yeah, you're getting advice from Vosh on this.
He
That's
said to just never take criticism from the public and only from people that you know.
I think that's true to an extent, and one thing that I am very grateful for is I have excellent community members who will sift through a lot of that stuff and who will find the valid criticisms and tell me about it, and then, you know, the non-valid ones they'll kind of just leave, you know. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you, like, if you look back at your like streaming, because how long have you been streaming now? Like more than a year, right?
Yeah, like a year and a half, I think.
A year and a half. So do you look back and you are probably one of the few, I think you're the only like South Asian in the space, right? Outside of female. Yeah, female.
Yeah.
Gappy's also, right? So do you feel like any of the shit that you've had to deal with, because you've definitely had to deal with logic, do you think any of that is either racism or maybe like some implicit like racism? Does it ever feel like that?
I think that it's more sexism.
Jesus fucking Christ, indeed.
I mean, obviously, I encounter more racism when I interact with far right people. Well, I interact with far right people and I get a ton of racism and a ton of sexism. But when it's on the left and it's like kind of covert, it's hard to tell. I do think that I'm infantilized a lot. I think a lot of people don't realize the history that I have, the amount of work that I've done in the past. Again, if you had to argue with like an old Muslim man about why like female genital mutilation is wrong, like I think you would realize that pretty quickly that like nothing can faze you after that. So yeah, so like people don't give me enough credit, I feel. They don't know, they underestimate how much work I put into this kind of stuff, how much reading I do for this kind of stuff, how much I work on the connections that I have with other people.
I think she's read
and that can be very frustrating.
Hasn't she read All Theory? Oh no, that's Fosh.
It's so interesting that you feel like you've dealt with more sexism than racism. Because
on the left, at least. On the right, I get a lot of racism and a lot of sexism, and I can't really even tell which one's worse. So
that's why it's funny. I was having a conversation with someone recently, talking about, I guess, some of the sexual harassment in my DMs, and I said, like, I think I once tweeted, like, it's just it never phases me, like the sexism that I get in my DMs, like it never bothers me. It never ruins my day. It just feels like nothing, because the other stuff that I'm getting is like vile descriptions of how I'm an evil Jew and I need to be like, and I need to be completely destroyed, and then like, and very vivid descriptions of or like posts of graphic Holocaust pictures and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like, when I deal with that stuff, the like shit that I hear most women complain about, like getting a dick pic, I'm like, bro, I wish I would get dick pics instead of that shit. Like, and I realize, and I realize
neither is good, but
that idea is in comparison, because it's like suffering's relative, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But it's like frustrating.
I have my DMs closed on Twitter and on Discord for a reason, and that's probably the reason. I still get added with like graphic pictures sometimes. But at this point, I think I'm pretty desensitized to a lot on the internet. There was like a week where somebody kept spamming gore at me every time I tweeted. And you know, obviously there's like the street shitter like comments that people make towards me. But like what frustrates me more is when it's people who are supposed to be on my side who are holding me to a different standard than they would to any male creator. So if any other male creator were friends with somebody, like Flamenco, or friends with anybody else, or friendly towards somebody, I don't feel like they would
don't just criticize Stardust, criticize Sansoy too, right? Criticize Dylan Burns for bringing on Big Papa Fascists. Like, there's a lot of criticism to go around, and you're right, Stardust, you should not bear the burden solely. But yeah, no, you're pretty bad, and it's in a pretty ridiculous way. And that is part of why you're catching the attention, but part of why it sticks, yeah, you're right, is because you're a woman in male space.
Being characterized as a Nazi or a fascist as often as I am. I also feel like people don't underestimate those creators as much as they underestimate me. They automatically assume that I'm an idiot, that I'm dumb, even though I've had like more education than most people I interact with online. Which is incredibly invalidating, you know, like what was the point, basically. But
is that what education is about? So you can feel smarter than other people?
It's just the invalidation of the amount of work that I put in, the amount of education that I've sought out, the amount of hardship I've gone through in my own personal life. And people just they just make assumptions about like what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. And I feel like if I were a man, maybe they wouldn't be doing that as much. So
you're honestly probably correct, I would say, on this. Like honestly, like even other women, I probably participated in myself, like even in this conversation, with how much we talked about Mr. Girl and Flamenco. It's like there's probably like implicit, I don't know if it's like internalized misogyny or something. I know that it's something that I dealt with a lot. Like when I first entered the space, everyone just automatically subscribed me completely with Doobie. Like they would just and assume that I had all the exact same opinions. And this is something that I try to say on Twitter as much as possible, is that like you never want to come to any firm conclusions about someone or their character based on who they associate with, because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Like you never know the dynamic of that relationship.
What's going on behind closed?
If the relationship is even genuine. Like for all I know, I mean,
Oh
obviously,
my god, chat, there's like more than we know.
This is just something I'm making up in my head right now. But for all I know,
my god.
Flamenco, is blackmailing you with nudes, and so you have to and so you have to interact with him, right? Like you have to. Like there's nothing like and
wait, what?
And I mean, even today,
what did
like,
she
we
just
just
say?
found out that a lot of the reasons why
No, I misheard that. I must have misheard that. There's no way.
Because like for all I know, I mean, this. Obviously, I don't know this is true. This is just something I'm making up in my head right now.
Oh, you're making it up.
Flamenco is blackmailing you with nudes, and so you have to.
About Flamenco.
So you have to interact with him, right? Like you have to. Like there's nothing like and I mean, I had all the exact same opinions, and this is something that I try to say on Twitter as much as possible. Is that like you never want to come down. You never want to come to any firm conclusions about someone or their character based on who they associate with, because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Like you never know the dynamic of that relationship. You never know like if the relationship is even genuine. Like for all I know, I mean, this obviously I don't know this is true. This is just something I'm making up in my head right now. But for all I know, Flamenco is blackmailing you with nudes, and so you have to and so you have to interact with.
Is she saying what I think she's saying? No way. I'm like worried now. Is she okay? Is she?
Them, right? Like you have to. Like there's nothing like and I mean, even today, like we just found out that a lot of the reasons why you're, say, not as outwardly scathing towards very far right wing people is because you need to be careful with your words, because for personal safety.
Oh my god!
A woman of color, right? So like, there are like you just never know like what's going on behind someone and with the relationships and why they're associating with someone and all that stuff. So it's like it's just an important reminder for myself
and
included.
None of these people are deluded on the right. Like none of these people are deluded that I agree with anything that they say on the right. They know that I'm a liberal. They know that I disagree with everything, but I'm not taking sides on their infighting. Their infighting is so toxic. I'm not taking any sides on that. And I'm trying to avoid saying anything about anybody that would indicate that I'm taking some sort of side in that kind of stuff, because they are so horrible to each other. But yeah, I think what bothers me is, again, like just the underestimation and like if it were any other male content creator who associates with these people, I don't think that they would be like saying that they that they hold all the same beliefs, right? Flamenco and I actually started off hating each other. We like had so much vitriol between the two of us. And so I think some of our earliest interactions was us just yelling at each other and calling each other names. But we ended up being like friendly later. But like any other content creator, I feel like a male content creator like Chud Logic could be friends with like Mr. Girl, right? And nobody has any delusions about
Chud Logic's
agreeing
got
with everything that Mr. Girl says, right?
I disagree with you there, because I think Chud, I think I've heard disagreements with Chud, the way Chud platformed Mr. Girl, and the way he kind of downplayed stuff, but he also was constantly pushing back against Mr. Girl, and he didn't call like Mr. Girl a good person and all that stuff. It's the same thing of the criticism that I see against Destiny with Lauren Southern, where like the criticism seems to be on like how like he is, and he's getting a ton of pushback right now from his own community, from DGG, like about how he platforms Lauren Southern and how like, and they feel like he's doing it irresponsibly. So I do feel like other male creators do get some of it too.
I'm sure they do. I just don't think that people underestimate them as much as they underestimate me. Like one of the main things that people say about me is that I'm dumb, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I've done no research. Which is very irritating because like I'm a research junkie. It's just, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that why did I spend years in education to be questioned so much like this, you know? But it's just,
what did you study, by the way?
Well, I initially, well, I'd rather not talk about it, but, sure. You know, I got my bachelor's in music, and then I was pursuing a post-bac degree before COVID hit. but I have a significant, and the post-bac degree was in a different area, but you know, I have a significant amount of education, like well-rounded education. And so the fact that people just automatically assume that I'm like dumb is interesting. Maybe it's because I use and I use like in a lot of
I do that too. I do that too.
I don't know. It's frustrating. I feel I put so much work into this stuff. I read books like off stream about about subjects that I'm focusing my content on, and it's just frustrating. So
okay, I get called dumb too.
Yeah.
My family literally said that I was a useful idiot for the anti-Israel Palestinian side. That's what they're using you as a useful idiot, so you can be their token Jew.
So. Yeah, here it is, naive 10-year-old right now. Yeah, naive 10-year-old. So, yeah, I think I do get. People don't realize the amount of vitriol that I already get from specific communities. I spent like a whole week getting hate rated by like groypers, and it wasn't just like a normal hate raid. It was like the first day was like 200 some people, and then every day after that was like 50 people hate raiding into me. It's not like
really, really hard to deal with.
Oh, it was very stressful. I was very burned out after that. But I have gotten rape threats. I've gotten death threats. I've had people send pictures of just like disgusting stuff to me. I have my DMs closed for a reason. So it's not like I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I do know what I'm getting myself into. I am very well aware of the risks with it. And you know, I've seen some of the repercussions with it. Like, you know, again, like the hate rating was specifically intentional to get me in trouble and to take away my income, right? That's like the purpose of a lot of hate raids.
Hey, what's up, Rose Papier?
Yeah, it's not like I don't
Guten
know
Morgen
that
to you
I'm
as well.
entering dangerous territory anytime I enter any of these spaces.
It's completely normal.
It's just frustrating that so many people like seem to think that I don't know what I'm doing.
So, from what I'm understanding, is you feel very underestimated, like around the world, and you've basically been underestimated your entire life. Like that's the impression that I've gotten. And because of that, you connect to people that are ostracized, and you just naturally kind of. It seems like you just naturally want
like
to
music,
talk to people, and enter a world like when people tell you can't do something, it makes you want to go talk to them and
like, let me go talk to that dude that they said I couldn't talk to.
Yeah.
I think that like for me, that makes a lot of things make sense, right? Especially like when you I put that in perspective with everything else, especially when you consider how much of this space makes you feel as a content creator, makes you feel like you're being constantly controlled. It's like if you particularly have an issue with being controlled, it's like the space is probably constantly triggering, because everyone's always telling you what to do, especially as a woman. So like where do you plan, how do you want to grow your content in the future? Like where do you plan on kind of like taking your channel, and what do you plan on doing as a streamer like in the next year?
I think I'm just gonna continue to be more and more honest about my views on things. I think like, for example, like my anti-religion takes have been a hit recently. I think a lot of people like that. Like why I view things the way that they are. Like I'm just gonna be, I think, more honest about like things that I dislike and stuff like that. Generally I try to be pretty polite and be pretty optical, especially being a woman in like media. You know, like people view you differently, people view you more critically, and you're kind of expected to be more polite. I'll still be polite, but I'm probably going to be more blunt about a lot of things. One thing I recently realized is if somebody threatens me or says something really disgusting to me, I think I have the right to say something disgusting back to them, at least in certain communities, not in the politics community. But yeah, I'm probably going to just continue being, more blunt, being more honest, and continuing to have meaningful conversations with people and connecting with people and asking uncomfortable questions, making other people uncomfortable. And I hope to inject some humor in all that as well.
So it seems like you're going to double down on the refusing to be controlled thing.
Yeah.
Is that a good summary?
More blunt.
Yeah, probably. That's probably a huge part of it. So.
I think that this is a good thing especially for people who are watching. For those, I know there's tons of people who are watching who are huge fans of you, but for the few that are not fans of Stardust, or are very critical, I think it's a reminder of how to give criticism as well. Like, even if you think that Stardust deserves some kind of valid criticism, there are effective ways to do that and there are not effective ways. And just telling someone point blank you can't do this, or you're a shitty person for doing this, and that's it. It's for someone like you, Stardust, that is
there you go, Viv.
The way to get through to you.
So
whatsoever, right?
I think Viv knows the way to get through to her.
And
moralizing.
it just has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
So don't spend time moralizing. Don't try to convince her. Just be blunt. Like her. Just be blunt.
Trying to put some moral weight on the fact that I talk to people who are different from me is not going to work.
Oh, it's the title of the new
I've been
Jay and Silent Bob
ostracized my
movie.
entire life. I know what it's like, and I'm just not going to kind of give in to that.
That's a meaningless statement.
Yeah,
considering...
I'm willing to take criticism. And I think you'll find that I often disagree with the people that I interact with.
Half of the mission of
on
the Twitch Politics Discord was to ostricize
a variety of subjects.
Don't give me that shit.
But if you only view me as this one-dimensional character, yeah, you're gonna think that
There's also zero-dimensional characters.
Of course you are, I guess. View me a little bit more with a little bit more color, with a little bit more dimension, I guess.
I have one.
It's weird to see this
in general we would all see each
weirdly what do you want to call this, postmodern reactionary liberalism? I don't know, this is some weird shit.
Other as complex human beings, and I feel even
because it hides itself in that
almost objectifying other public figures into
people are complicated and stuff
instead of just
so
a human being with flaws.
Don't judge.
And their own story and stuff. So it's a good reminder for us to not objectify one another like that, and for the audience not to do that too. But I have one last super serious question.
Super serious.
That
okay.
It's ethical to pee in the shower.
It's not serious,
I think it's morally neutral. I personally don't do it because
it's a morally gray.
Neutral. I personally don't
gray.
do it because it just doesn't feel right to me. Yeah.
It doesn't feel natural.
Answering that question in a very serious.
Feels wrong to me. Yeah.
Wait.
You do have a vagina, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to make any assumptions, but I was pretty sure. And peeing in the shower with a vagina is just it's a losing game. You're gonna spend more time in the shower. I've never done it myself, but I would assume so based on physics.
It's not. Yeah, I just can't do it. I'm physically incapable of doing it. There's something in my brain that makes it incapable.
Okay. Would you be okay with say you had a boyfriend and he peed in your shower?
I probably wouldn't like it.
I'm so not here for the peeing in shower discourse. Are you? No peeing in showers. I mean, I don't know. Teach their own. It's your shower, so if you want to pee in it, pee in it. They were talking about peeing in the shower and the ethical quandary of, is it ethical to pee in the shower, or is it it's a pretty easy question to answer. It's if there's other people showering there, then maybe not. But if it's your own shower, then it's your own pee in your own shower. That is your business. That is your business, and your business alone. I will not intrude on your business. I will leave you to your business, as I intend to mine. That was kind of wild. Okay, so seriously though, I don't know if Eris was trying to communicate something there, or if it was just my imagination. Maybe it was just an awkward conversation. But I would hate to think that anybody's out there doing anything that they find morally repugnant because, somebody's got something on them. There have been allegations of that kind of stuff in in, you know, Twitch poll circles like previously. Was that blink twice if you, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what, and maybe, you know, maybe it was just like, it just happened to come off like that. Maybe it's nothing. I can't say for sure. Oh my god, are you serious? Are fucking realms down? It's like Realms is on, but the Realms have been down for me for like 2 days. I'm seeing Realms, but I'm not seeing like the Clan Ops one. Oh my god, yeah, the forced migration of Minecraft. It's like a real thing. Let's see if I can reels this just quick. Trying to organize a trading hall, so it's depressing. Yeah, I'm not seeing like this particular realm, and I don't, yeah, it's just like, it's like not showing up. No invites. Back. Yeah, there was some pretty amazing stuff done. Oh yeah, I did. I talked to Danabo the other day. True. Yeah, I did talk to Danabo. You see your own, but nothing else. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't keep checking, but yeah, I see some other ones that I'm a member of. Oh my god, so much about the God, I'm trying to remember everything that Danabo said. You can't see Buffy's realm either. Okay, you know, we've got other video games. Like that one. Oh my god. So yeah, like what did he say about what? Oh my god, we talked about so much. Forced migration is a crime against humanity. Yeah, it really screwed some people over in Minecraft. There's Baofu, yeah, there's all these Oh fuck, yeah, about that. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Danabo. Yeah, I actually did have a talk with Danabo this week on stream. That's what I thought you were talking about. Yeah, I need to get a hold of him on that. What we're trying to do is steal Danabo away from Dylan But Danabo keeps maintaining that if he doesn't do the booking for Dylan, then somebody worse will. That somehow we're gonna let Samantha Banana in. So it's almost like Danabo's the Democrats and Samantha Banana's the Republicans, and the Democrats are like, yeah, but you gotta support me or else Samantha Banana. You don't want Samantha Banana, do you? She had a war room against you. That she did. That she did. According to DGG itself, actually, strangely enough. It's weird that they would tell on her. Maybe they don't really like her that much. I don't know. It's hard to imagine anybody likes Samantha very much. Even Samantha. Oh.